Okay, this is Remote Pilots Australia, and I'm Ari. And if anybody's here apart from Mason, welcome to the stream. Okay, Dennis. I assume Dennis is here. I heard you say hello. Yeah, hello, Dennis. I don't have working. Excuse me. I don't have working email this morning because I'm using a different link, a 4G link, to try and improve video. And Google is having a hernia over security. So I'll post the link for the live stream in chat here, and you guys will have to try and join from that. Those of you who have trouble using it out of the chat, you should be able to cut and paste it and put it in a browser. There's the link for anyone who wants to join. Vegemite. Not the best. I'm just looking at my video link here. I'm going to have a bit of a play with it until somebody joins in. And considering the bandwidth I've got now, I don't know why. Let's try that. Should be enough now. Okay, I'll leave it sitting there and I'll play with it a bit during the stream, see if I can improve it. Okay, guys, it's been an interesting week in my life. Well, interesting isn't the word I'd use, except in the context of the old Chinese saying, may you live in interesting times. Been ill for a week along with the rest of the household. I'm still not the best, but I wasn't going to miss the live stream. And so much for the flu shot. I knew I paid the money for that for a reason, so that it would do nothing at all. Charming. Oops, I just minimised the chat. I'm having a good morning. And so, you're welcome in the chat there, Dennis. The link's there. Once you guys have decided whether it works, I'll delete it out of the chat and put it in as required.
Hey. How you doing, Artie?
I'm shaking. That'll teach me to try and follow a piece of toast when someone joins the channel. Welcome. Okay, you need to mute your YouTube channel and just use Hangouts volume. You can leave the YouTube stream going in the background, but you need to mute the speakers or mute it in the sound. Okay, can you hear me still? I can't hear you, but you don't seem to be speaking, so perhaps you've muted me.
How's that? Is that better?
Yep, I can hear you. Now I'll see if I can hear myself. You just need to mute the YouTube window with the little speaker icon at the bottom of the video, but leave the Hangouts one unmuted.
Now, this is my first time doing this.
It's easy to get mixed up. Remember, I've only been doing this, it must be approaching 2 months, and I'm only just starting to get comfortable with it myself.
Alrighty, how's that? Is that any better?
Yeah, it's good. You know, I've got a decent link on you. The audio is good, and I can't hear myself in the background. So that's a good thing. Now, I'm sure that you've told me, but I've got one of those memories. Whereabouts are you situated?
I'm here in Bloomsdale, Missouri, which is about 60 miles south of St. Louis.
Okay, not a problem. Missouri. Okay, that's good. I'm Australian, but I've got a reasonable idea of what's what as far as US geography goes. But then again, I take an interest, unlike a lot of people.
I've been to Australia a couple of times when I was in the Navy. Nice place, beautiful people.
And how long did you serve in the Navy?
I was in there for 2 years, and then I got out there and went in the Marine Corps for 9.5 years.
Oh, well, Marine's still technically the Navy, isn't it?
Now. Well, that's what they say, but actually, the Marine Corps received their commission in November 1775, and the Navy wasn't commissioned to 1776.
That's only because they couldn't afford any boats.
Yeah, they take us everywhere we need to go, everywhere we need to go. They feed us good chow.
I'm being a bit facetious. Being Australian, I follow on from the British military tradition more than anything else. And of course, in Britain, the Marines are definitely part of the Navy.
Yeah. Yeah, they take us where we want to go. They supply us with a chaplain and medical care.
Yeah, my dad, I have worked with US servicemen, but not in a normal military setting. I wasn't in regular military. I was in private security. And but my father, he served in Vietnam with your guys, and also in Korea with your guys. And he's fairly fond of the Marines. I won't mention his opinion of the regular US Army.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good tours, I should say. I wouldn't trade the experience for the world. I was a good kid, but I was rambunctious, as my grandmother would say, and so going in the service, it taught me a lot, some discipline and a few things that I think everybody needs. That's not taught today in homes because parents work, and so.
Well, I think that's pretty much part of the tradition. And what I mean there is, it's generally those young people who are a little, in inverted commas, rambunctious, who end up joining the military. Your regular couch flower doesn't have what it takes, generally speaking, to join up. And then you join up, of course, and they teach you what discipline means. And I think that it leads to a good mix a little bit further on in life. You've got a little bit of gumption, a little get up and go, but you've also learnt to discipline yourself.
Yeah.
And I tried many times for the regular military and could never pass a medical. So that was frustrating.
Well, thank you for at least trying.
Oh, I come from a service family, Mason. I would have been the 7th consecutive generation. So I never really considered it, although never considered not trying. Although having said that, the way the world is today, I'm just as happy if my son decides not to. I'll let him make the decision. He's 15 now.
Yeah, my son, he tried to go in and a medical issue, and my daughter said she wanted to go in the Marines and be like me, and so then she decided to change her mind to go into the National Guard. And so she says, oh, well, no, wait a minute, so now she's a fireman and going to the police academy.
It sounds like she's got an interesting mixture of interests.
Yeah, kind of like me when I was young. I didn't know, really what I wanted to do. I came from a small town and either went to work at the factory after graduation or went to work for McDonald's. So not too many choices.
It's getting like that in today's world. Kids don't really have a lot of choice anymore. McDonald's is probably the major youth employer here.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, it's good as far as it goes. It gives them, people look down their nose at it. I don't. It gives them work experience. It teaches them to work in a retail environment and under corporate management. But they employ tens of thousands of kids, and only a small percentage of them will have a long-term career in the company.
Yeah.
And between you and me, I couldn't see myself spending 30 years asking people, would you like fries with that?
Yeah, it gets a little old after a while, I would imagine.
Yes, I some kids of a friend of mine, the whole family worked at various McDonald's outlets here, and they ordered a heap of T-shirts online that basically said, if I'd have wanted fries, I would have effing well asked. So I took that as a tip to the wise how they felt. Oh dear. So it's fairly quiet here. I know that we've got Val streaming currently, and r.p.a.s should have just about finished. So there are probably a few in there. When they finish, we might end up with a few logging in, or they may not be expecting me to stream today because I was quite ill last week and dropped out. We'll see how we go.
Oh, I didn't know that you were ill.
Let's just say it was a flu-like disease. I had the injections a few weeks ago along with the rest of the family. So you would hope that it wasn't the flu, but it sure felt like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear old Lloyd's having a pretty rough time there in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I was watching his last few posts, and I can't remember the name of the submarine in the park there that was awash, but it certainly puts it in perspective. I get worried. Look, Lloyd's not a wallflower, and he knows how to look after himself and Judy, but he's not. He's older than me, and I'm feeling my age. And if anything was to happen, I don't know how he'd be. And let's face it, floods are one thing, but the tornadoes they've had around there, they're utterly frightening. Wouldn't matter who you are, there's not anything you can do with those. If your number's up, your number's up.
Yeah, we call that the finger of God. It's what I call tornadoes. Yeah, I do storm chasing, and I was going to really chase hard this year and try to hit Kansas and Texas and Nebraska and all of that stuff. And as you can see now, I'm in one of these.
That limits things a little.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the video where I flew my drone in my hospital room.
No, I didn't.
But yeah, I was having some back pain. I do PD dialysis, and which the military never caught either, which absolutely surprised me. But I was only born with one kidney, and so when I had my heart attack, the doctor says, well, just for poops and giggles, I'm going to run one more test. So they took me downstairs and ultrasound or whatever you want to call it. And the nurse says, well, did you donate a kidney? I'm like, no. And well, you had to. And I'm like, why? And they said, well, you only have one kidney. And I said, well, who do I sue? Because I didn't give anybody permission to take my kidney. So they said I was born with one, and it was only working at 18%. And so I'm doing this, and my son, God bless him, was offered to give me one of his, and I said, no, I'm 64 years old. When you get married and have a family, your kid may need your kidney. And you would only have one and couldn't be able to give him. So I said, you keep yours, and I'll just let God take his course with me. And plus I have this thing about sticking other people's body parts in my body. So I'll just go when the good Lord takes me.
Well, obviously you've got to make your own choices on those. I do have some thoughts on the situation, but that's all right for me to have. I'm not the one in the situation. But as far as your age, 64 in this day and age, unlike when we were kids, is not old. You've got another, generally speaking, you can hope to have another 20 years of life and maybe more at 64. And as far as kidneys go, one thing about Australia, we've always been on the forefront of medical research. One of the first countries into transplanting, and invented the cochlear ear and all of this sort of thing. And our government highlights all of the progresses we make pretty heavily to us, probably to prove how good they are or something. But they're already growing organs here on an experimental basis in the laboratory from stem cells, from your own stem cells, not from somebody else's. I would think that within another 10 years, we're going to be able to have grow a replacement organ of our own. If I was in your situation, maybe I'm selfish, but if I was in your situation, I might take the offered kidney. I know the story pretty well from the. I've got a family friend who lives with us, an elderly lady, and she, like Sonia, like Nature's Beauty, she was diagnosed with a kidney tumor about 8 or 9 years ago now. And when they went in, they ended up taking all of one kidney and about 53% of the other, I think. And funnily enough, she's operating near to 70% capacity. I don't know how that works out. So she doesn't need dialysis and whatnot. So I know that you can get on one kidney quite well as long as that kidney's healthy.
Yeah.
So, when you're born with one, it doesn't give you a lot of redundancy.
No, and if I would have known that, of course, when you go in the Marines and the Navy, you drink like sailors or you drink like Marines. But if I would have known all this stuff, my grandmother kept telling me, now, son, you got to slow down, it'll catch up with you. And of course, being young, oh, no, it won't. But, oh, yes, it did. So
Yeah.
I would have taken a lot better care of myself. But now all I like doing is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say that's something I learned when I was doing what service I did with special projects, which is when you're young, you always think that it happens to the other guy. It's not until you get sort of into your late 30s that you start to realize to everybody else you are the other guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like one day I woke up and boom, my health had went to hell in a handbasket. And so that's the way it is. But
okay, so if you don't mind me asking, I know it's happening with the kidneys, but how did you end up as you are now?
I'm sorry?
How did you end up as you are now with the restricted mobility?
Oh, well, when I was in the hospital the last time where I flew my drone, that I thought that one kidney was going out because I was having so much pain in my kidney area. And I thought, well, this is it, the last one's dying off. So my PD nurse, we called her and she said, go to the emergency room. So they found, I can't see the chat, by the way. So, but if anybody's saying anything, but so I went in and it's been a couple of days. They found a bunch of bone spurs, herniated discs, ruptured discs, and a bunch of other things. And they told me in no uncertain terms, because sometimes that's how my doctors have to talk to me to get the point across, which I really like it better that way. They absolutely told me no more storm chasing and limit myself to my drone flying, because they said if I turned the wrong way or something, it probably wouldn't be good. So I was going to go to the bank to deposit some money, and there was this little box turtle just far enough in the road to where it would get ran over. So I pulled over and got out of my vehicle, got to the back of my vehicle and turned, and just felt a very sharp pain in my spine, and I hit the ground. And I tried to get up and I couldn't move my legs. So they helped me back to my car, and so I got home, and then so I've been to the pain specialist now. They just did an MRI on my spine, and I will be seeing the doctor on that. I think it's sometime next week. but I have no feeling in my legs. I can sit here and beat on them, or you could hit them with the sledgehammer, and I wouldn't even know. If I wasn't looking, I wouldn't know that I would have been hit.
Okay, no, so no feeling and no movement as well?
No, there's nothing from the waist down.
Oh dear. It's just, excuse me.
At
Hello.
least the turtle's okay.
Yeah, I thought that actually. It's funny. Nobody seems to have a softer spot for animals or kids than servicemen. It just seems to be a rule. Thomas O'Sullivan, greetings. How are you, mate? I'm streaming off a 4G connection today to try and improve the link a little bit. I don't know whether it's having any success. I'll play with the OBS settings shortly. As for the chat, Mason, what you do, I'm assuming that you've still got your YouTube streaming behind your Hangouts window, and you've just
No, I can go to my iPad though. Would that work?
The easy way to do it is you open up a YouTube window on the same channel as this, and click on the little speaker icon below the video in YouTube so that you can't hear the sound. And then on the chat, which you'll see in YouTube, you click on the little 3 dots in the upper right hand corner and choose pop out chat, and the little chat window just pops out, and then you just click on it and bring it to the foreground in front of your Hangouts and put it over on the right hand side, and you can see it. I'll show you how it looks on my screen. You'll get the screen in screen effect, but you should be able to see it. And
I guess I popped myself right off there.
Okay, now that's you can see there. Okay, it's window in window in window, but over here on the right, I've got the little chat screen, and I can move it around separately. That's what I popped out of the YouTube window, and I've got the Hangouts in front of me.
Now I'm showing my age. I had to put my old man eyeballs on.
Oh, all right, I'll do it again. Not a problem.
Oh no, it's fine. I just can't see it, but
that's all right. It's not a problem. I do wear glasses, but not for this stuff. Age is a terrible thing. So there's my chat window, and all you do, if you have a look, I'll bring it up. If you have a look behind there's my YouTube window, and you can see that I have a blank. I'll tell it to restore the chat. So there's the chat there, and there's a little 3 windows up in the top, a little 3 dots in the top there. You click on that and say pop out chat, and it pops out over here. Okay, and you make it drag it, make it a little bit smaller. I bring it down here and make it a bit smaller, and I put it over here in the right hand side, and I go down onto the taskbar and hover over the Chrome and bring up Hangouts, and then pop on the chat and bring it to the foreground, and that's how I sit. Okay, I'll stop the share now because that window in window is quite disconcerting.
yeah, really. I think what I'll do, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I got this far.
Yep.
No, exactly.
Well,
I'm not it's quite, in the box.
Like you said, it's quite workable to look at an iPad. I have done that before too. I'm just, as I said, I've been doing it a couple of months, and I'm getting down to routine with it now. And Thomas says hello to you, by the way.
Oh, hello, Thomas.
And okay, I saw that comment about those beers, Tom. Well, I'll be honest with you. There's very few Australian beers I like. They make a lot of beer, but it's not really brewed for taste. It's brewed to get you drunk. Never believe that being Irish, would you? If I was drinking for my personal taste, and I only drink beer, I don't drink liquor. My choice is Guinness. I'm a big Guinness guy. He's probably going to have a few words to say about that now. It's Guinness. I'm a big Guinness guy. Okay, just click on the one. There, that'll work.
Whatever it takes to work, we'll get her done.
That's it. That's the attitude.
All right. I just went ahead and brought it up on my iPad just for now. Then I'll work on the rest this next week and try it out.
Yeah, well, last week you didn't have anything set, so it's working well now. Yeah. Going back to what you were saying, obviously, I'm only guessing because I haven't heard the doctor's reports and so forth. I would imagine that when you've turned your back, you've had a subluxation. One of your damaged vertebrae has jumped right out of line and is putting a heavy amount of pressure on your spinal cord. I would imagine you'd be fairly unlucky to have severed it, but heavy pressure can be just as devastating to your movement and feeling.
Well, what they did tell me though was that the fact that since I only have the one kidney, it's only working at like 18%. What they had told me in the hospital too, they said, well, we could fix this with surgery, but you're just not a candidate.
Well,
because they don't.
I don't know what the story is with the medicos in the US. Out here, we get the same thing. I've only got one lung now. I had massive damage to the right-hand side. I've got no hearing. I had a right-hand chest reconstruction. I've got no right rib cage, no right lung. And I've had 3 major surgeries in the last few years. I've got another one coming up. And obviously, I'm not quite as old as you. I'm in my mid-50s, but I'm not as young as I was. And they always panic over putting me under an anesthetic because of the bad lung. And I pretty much have to insist. And I have to sign a waiver. And then they go ahead. But that said, I always come through with flying colours. I'm really tolerant of anesthetics. I don't. And people say to me, wasn't I worried because I've got kids? And they were quite young then, the first time I had the big surgery. And I said to them, well, actually, it's because of the kids that I had the surgery, because I was pretty useless beforehand. I look horrible now. I look quite deformed, but I can get around. I can take them out. I can go out and fly the drones. Before, I couldn't do anything. So it was for them that I had it. Hang on, I've just got to see what... all right. Okay, Thomas, I'll give you that. It's not beer. It is a stout. It's totally different. And it's not rotten. It's gorgeous. Cider. Oh, he's a scrumpy man. Dear, oh, dear. You got a brand new combine harvester? Oh dear, oh dear. Sorry, I'm always giving Thomas a hard time, Mason.
Well, the other thing is, I haven't been on a lot, and I think my channel's got up to like 260 some folks. And so then when I hurt my back, this hasn't worked. That really threw me into depression because I just get so caught and picking frustrated because I can't move. I have to, push myself up, crawl into the bed, and stuff like that. And then on top of that, I had to go to clinic. That's where, they'll draw all the labs and do all the labs. And then when I go back for clinic, that's when I see the kidney doctor and I get all my lab results, nutrition results, and all that. So I stopped on the way home because I wanted to get some more pictures of the flooding around our area. And I launched my Spark. She got about maybe 20 feet in the air. It was in GPS mode. So it totally it got about 30 feet in the air, went into ADDI mode, and then just had a mind of its own. I put that on a video on my channel, the flight path and everything. And I've got to hand it to DJI. Their customer service is a lot better it was when I got my FC40. We looked for the drone for 6 days. It's not where it said it was, so we couldn't find it anywhere. And we did like about a mile radius from where it said it was. And so we got in touch with DJI. They put in a claim for me, and I did not have the DJI Go or DJI care package that you buy extra. So we sent them everything that they asked for. The drone is still missing, by the way. But I got an email from them the other day, said it's a warranty issue, that there was a glitch. But they wouldn't tell me where the glitch was. But they said that they're going to replace the Spark.
Oh, that's
so,
good.
yeah.
That's good.
but no transmitter. Because I said, well, can I send the transmitter back and you just send me a whole new package in case it was something wrong with the transmitter? But it's no deal. They're sending me just the drone, no charger, and no transmitter. Yep. So I'm happy with that. At least it was covered. So now I've kind of got my urge back to fly, and my head's set in the right place now with what's happened. I'm in the right place where I should be on dealing with that mentally and physically. And now that I got the drone back, I'm going to start getting back out there and flying.
Yeah, look, the Sparks, they're a little bit particular. Let's say, I was going to say flaky, but that's a little bit harsh. They're just particular, and you've really got to be careful with them. That because they're a enhanced Wi-Fi link, not either a light bridge or OcuSync, and they don't have the range, and also they're prone to interference. If you're flying them in an interference-free area, they're pretty good, but they have their issues, and you've got to watch it. And as far as only replacing the aircraft, that's their normal modus operandi. I had to. I bought a Mavic Air, early this year, January or February, and I flew it once. I ran 3 batteries through it. I bought the Fly More pack, and I noticed it was a little bit glitchy in its behavior, but I just put that down to me not having the settings right. And I've got so many drones that I can't fly them all the time because of the commercial. I'm flying commercially. But when I got to fly it again the next time, which is the second time, about 6 weeks later, as I normally do, I got it here in the office and I powered it up the night before so that I could take any firmware updates or anything that had come through. And when I took the latest firmware, it never restarted. Well, it did restart, but it would never reconnect to the controller. I kept getting a main controller error. And I went and Googled it, of course, and it's a common problem with the early run Mavic Airs, which mine was, despite the fact I bought it this year. It was made in, I think it was March or April of last year. Been on the shelf a while. And they replaced it. Yeah, I spoke to my DJI, the authorized DJI stockist here, and he's the only one in the state, and they know me very well. I've spent a lot of money with them, and I just said to him, look, if I'd have wanted a care and refresh one, I would have bought one for $400 less than I paid for this. I've only flown it once. I'm not really happy with the idea of a refurbished aircraft. And he said, I can make sure that you get a new one, which he did. When I got it, it had a build date of April of this year, so it was new. But even then, it was the same business. I sent the aircraft back in the little zip-up compartment by itself, and they sent me out a new one. I had to keep my own controller and rebind it afterwards.
Well, that's my first product was a DJI Phantom FC40, and I thought those were just the coolest thing because I was always flying RC airplanes and model rockets and helicopters, and I'd seen them on the news, and I'm like, that's got to be a pain in the butt to try to fly. I think planes and helicopters are tough. This thing is probably, you have to be a rocket scientist. But when I got it, I watched a few videos, and my friend said, Sandy goes, you just put that transmitter in your hand, took off, and it's like you've flown these things for years. And so then I went from the FC40 to the Vision 2, the Vision 2 to the Phantom 3 Advanced, and then to the X-Star Premium, my orange pumpkin. I got the orange version. And then I've got, a couple little stunt drones, but then I got the Spark. I was wanting the Mavic Air, just couldn't afford it at the time. But I had enough to absolutely get the Spark. And I know I should have waited to get what I wanted. And now I'm sitting here watching Philly Drone Life fly, and he's got his Zoom, and I'm like, God, what do I want? I want a Mavic Air. I want a Mavic Zoom. Air, Zoom, Air, Zoom. So.
Well, I got both. Do you want me to tell you what you want?
Which one?
You want the Mavic 2 Zoom.
Yeah.
I've got 8 aircraft because I'm a commercial pilot now.
Right.
Like you, I flew radio control for years. I'm relatively new into droning, less than 2 years, but I've flown RC for 30 years, and I've been an instructor. I was an instructor at the local club. I don't go there anymore. I got sick of the personality politics, but I've been an
Yeah.
instructor for 25 years, and I've got my FAI Type F and Type S, fixed wing and space rating. And I didn't fully get my heli. I was flying helis, but I didn't stay at the club long enough to get my certification. But I can fly them, obviously, and I hate them. Horrible, squirrely, damn things. I don't need to tell you. You fly it for 15 minutes and you're soaked with sweat. And so I was glad I donated my last one to my training provider, who trained me for my remote pilot's license. But no, I sold off all of my stuff when they retired me over 10 years ago now, and I had a lot of expensive hobbies, and the only one I had kept was my guitars. So I sold off my guns and my RC planes and this, that, and the other just to get through when the kids were young. It was very expensive. And yeah, early 2018, I think it was, the family decided they were going to get all club together and buy me a quality of life item, something that I could have a bit of fun. And they bought me a Phantom 4 Professional. And so they didn't understand the difference. To them, it was just it flew and it had a remote control, so it was the same as I'd been using. And the fact that it had a camera was just a bonus. But of course, you and I know it's very different. And like you say, it is utterly so different to fly, and it's so easy to fly. If you've been flying RC, you don't have to think about it. The only thing I had to do was switch back to mode 2. I could have configured it to mode 1. I learned as mode 2 because it's like a normal aircraft, and then here in Queensland, the predominant mode at the club is mode 1, and so I switched over to mode 1 to instruct. And I can fly mode 1, 2, 3, and 4. But I'd been flying mode 1 for about 15, 20 years when I got my drone, and I switched back to mode 2 just so that if I started employing other pilots, they could use my aircraft and not have to worry about it. So anyway, since then I've picked up 8 drones, which is 3 Sparks, an Air, a Mavic 2 Zoom, 2 Phantom 4 Professional version 2s now, and an Inspire. If you ask me if I got rid of them all and can only keep one, that would be a Phantom 4 Professional. If I had to get rid of one, which one would go first? And that would be the Mavic Air. To me, it fills a slot that doesn't really exist. The price point is so close to Mavics that I don't think they justify it. And the biggest link or weakness is it's got a fixed focus camera, which it's still pretty good, but it's not as good with adjustable focus. And it's got the same Wi-Fi control link as the Spark, or a slightly better one. But it's still, when I'm flying it here at home, I don't get more than 300 yards distance because of all the Wi-Fi interference from my neighborhood. When I'm out in the bush, yeah, I probably get a kilometer or 2, but not here. So I want either Lightbridge or OcuSync. And here in Australia, a Mavic Air Fly More kit is $1,599, $1,600. A Mavic 2 Zoom is $2,000, $1,999. So it's $400 difference. Okay, that's not the Fly More, but it's $400 difference.
Right.
Considering everything it does, and I didn't get the Mavic 2 Pro because I do what I do with that with the Phantom 4 Professional. It's got the 20 megapixel 1-inch sensor. The zoom lens, the really rock. I don't fly it out to some of the distances that other people do because it's illegal here, but I really appreciate the rock solid link that you get with OcuSync. It's really great. And g'day, Mike B. How are you today, sir? And JDS Quads. Hey there.
Hey, JD.
Okay, and there's a wrench for you, sir. If I got that right. No, I missed you. I'll do it again. Now, what's it? Doesn't seem to want me to do that. Ah, there we go. Got it. All right, guys. There is a link further up in the chat. I'll pop it here again. If anybody wants to join, my email's not working today. I'm trying another link, 4G link, to give a bit better quality. And of course, Google is having a hernia over security issues and wants me to confirm their trusted link, but I can't pop my emails or check. So it's a bit hard. I'll do it when I get out of the stream. So there's a link if anyone wants to join me. And that includes you, Thomas, although I haven't pushed you, but I know you're welcome. I know you don't like it, but you are welcome. Just going to check what my own video is like at this point. Oh, wow. That's surprisingly good by my standards. That's very surprising. I might have to do this on the 4G link all the time, Mason.
Yeah, that was, you were, when you said you were setting up and everything, then when you came on, like before you came on live, there was a lot of buffering, but now you're just as smooth as silk.
Yeah, I'm surprised, and the video quality has improved. I put in the same settings that you would use on a high-speed broadband link instead of the snail settings that I had, and I just popped over to YouTube and had a look, and I was surprised how clear it is. I guess I won't complain. The only thing I'll have to do is at the end of this broadcast, I have to see how much data it burned. Unfortunately, here in Australia, unlimited all-you-can-eat 4G plans off your mobile are not something that we get. We've only just relatively recently, started getting unlimited download fixed broadband here. So I've got about 60 gigabytes available to me on 4G every month. So I'll have to see whether I can manage a twice-a-week broadcast on 4G. Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's why you said the states are a little behind.
No, not in the terms of broadband. You're not. You're well ahead of us.
Somebody else wants to jump in here too.
I've stuck the link in there in the chat. So if anyone, yeah, good day, Mike. How are you today, sir? It's yep, they're all talking to one another there.
Yeah, I really appreciate you asking me on. This is my first live stream, and I enjoy your show, and it's an honor to be here.
I don't think it's an honor, Mason. I'm happy to have people in. I like to have the company. I'm not terribly comfortable if I think about it in the terms of being a YouTube channel or broadcasting around the world. That makes me uncomfortable. So I tend to think of it as a big glorified conference call. I don't know whether
There
you
you
ever.
go.
Yeah, that's it. I just think I'm chatting with all of my friends on the same line, and then if I think about it like that, I'm okay. My daughter's probably in the bedroom watching us on her mobile phone or her tablet.
Hi, daughter.
If she's there. I haven't checked how many people are watching.
I'm showing 4 watching.
6. I'm showing 6, but it's a little slow to update sometimes for one of us.
Oh my God. I downgraded the channel.
No, it's good. I like having everybody in, and I know that some people are fairly reserved. That's probably a good word. I'm trying not to be critical. Some people are pretty reserved on inviting people in. To me, if you invite somebody in and you don't know them, they turn out to be problematic, it's easy enough to remove them if they're being disruptive. And I haven't struck it on YouTube yet, not once. So I just like to give people a go. Oh, that's my mobile phone over there. It's probably getting alarms to say we've got an unrecognized account or an unrecognized IP trying to access your account. I love Google, but sometimes I think they are a virus.
Hey, night train's in the house, it looks like.
Yep. And the other issue, of course, is I just muddied the waters even further by putting Google Home devices through the house just to make things a little bit easier. And the kids have taken that and run. I can't say it the catchphrase because I've got one sitting behind the unit, but if the kids are always saying it around the house and getting it to do various things, it's quite frustrating at times.
I noticed my Alexa that I'll be sitting here either watching a YouTube video or even if I'm sitting here writing a letter, and yes, I do actually write letters instead of emailing all the time. But every once in a while, Alexa will come on like trying to listen in on me. And then when I say, like, Alexa, what are you doing? Or Alexa, stop, then the little light goes out. So.
Yeah. Do you have Alexa in the room with you now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I will refrain, but I made Paul Murray's hair curl the other day. He was using his Alexa a week or so ago, and I couldn't resist. I had been told what to do by somebody else, and I just put in a question for Alexa over the link, and you should have seen his face when Alexa responded. Are there any ladies or anyone of a delicate disposition within earshot of this broadcast?
Oh, no.
Okay, I'll see if I can trigger your Alexa.
I'll set her up here. Oh, there she came on. So she's up next to the speaker now.
Okay. Alexa, what is 100, 100, 100, 100, 100 in Welsh? Doesn't want to respond. You ask it that, Mason.
I think she's thinking. I'll wait for it to go off. I'll let you ask her that again just a minute.
Okay, I'll try again. Alexa,
okay, let me,
Alexa, what is 100, 100, 100, 100, 100 in Welsh?
I think you blew her mind because she's just locked. Okay, now try one. Let's just try it one more time.
Okay, once more for fun. Alexa, what is 100, 100, 100, 100, 100 in Welsh?
No, she's gone all stupid.
She doesn't like Australian accents, that's what it is.
Yeah, I had I forget what it was. I think it was, forget what it was on my phone. The personal assistant on it, and I had it in an Australian female voice.
Yeah, everyone goes on about the Australian accent, which over here I'm not considered to have a particularly Australian accent. I wasn't born here. I was born in Malaya, as it was then, or Malaysia, as it's called now, which causes me no end of grief when I try and get a passport or something, and I have to present a birth certificate for a country that no longer exists. That's quite interesting. But in Australia, they don't consider that I have an Australian accent, and I get asked quite often, "Are you British?" To which I say, "Good Lord, no, I'm just well spoken." Excuse me for a minute. Sorry, guys. That was Thomas just Googled it. That was my brother. We've had 2 new beds delivered today, a queen size for the wife and I, and a double for the daughter. And when I'm finished here, we've got the joy of having to assemble them, which I always hate those things. Oh, easy assembly, 6 hours later.
Well, if you give it to a 5-year-old, they'll have it together for you in 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Yes. If you find it difficult, just ask any child in your vicinity, and it's always good, especially IT. Although my kids feel a little bit ripped off because although I don't have any formal IT qualifications, I've done it as a hobby. And then once I retired, I did it for some friends who own internet service providers as a bit of a money earner for about 30 years on and off. And so whereas all of their other friends at school, they're able to pull the wool over their parents' eyes as far as computers go, I'm still well ahead of my kids.
When I was little, we didn't have computers.
That's it.
Only the companies like Ashland Oil and IBM had the computers, and they would take up a warehouse. You know?
Yep. I've said to my kids, I tell them when I went into high school, there were no computers, no personal computers, no computers at school. And they look at me as if to say, you know, they've got this gone out look on their face, as if they're saying, come on, what a load of BS. G'day, Dennis. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Nacho.
There's a link up there in the chat. My email is non-operational at the moment because you might notice I've got a little bit better video quality than normal because I'm streaming over 4G. But now Google thinks that I'm trying to hack. I'm a hacker trying to get in my own accounts. And until I finish this stream and can go back to the other link and tell Google not to worry about it, it's locked me out of all of my accounts. So I can't even get in there and say, oh, no, I recognize this activity.
Yeah. Google spies on you, but they don't want anybody that you.
Oh, yeah. That was actually a hard decision I had to make when I put in the Google Home devices. Through all the years, I've always, whenever I set up a phone or any device, I go through the security settings and I disable all of the cloud, upload to cloud, and I disable store my history, store my web history, store this history, YouTube history, that history. I disable all the personalized services because I don't like being tracked. But let's be honest, Google is a virus, and not just Google, all of them, and they collect all of the data via scrape methods off you anyway. Thinking that you are what's the best way of it? If you think that you can really lock them out by doing these various measures, it's a bit like peeing in your pants. It gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling, but it doesn't really accomplish much else.
That's it.
So I unlocked it. But when it came to the personal assistants, I had a look at there's 3 platforms here in Australia anyway that are available, which was Google Home, Alexa, and Siri at home. Apple's just come into the fray relatively recently, and the Apple device just doesn't even make I saw some shootouts, and they were not just the normal stuff, weather and this sort of business, but esoteric sort of questions and commands. And Apple just fell out very quickly, and it came down to between Alexa and Google. And over here, at least, I got the impression from my research that it would vary which country you're in, but over here, Google was the more versatile platform.
Yeah, and Google's just buying up everything.
Yeah, they are. And
sorry, I can't help with that yet.
See?
I'm always.
Okay, Google, shut up. Hey, Matt, how are you, my friend?
All's well. Anything I can help with?
Just shut up.
Oh, I forgot. You got the G word, and I've got the A word one.
That's it. It's just it's a laugh. I'm waiting for you guys. You'll start with the hello. I'm not going to say the word. My kids, they come in here and they say, "Oh, I've discovered this new command," and they give the command, and then of course my home mini starts. I'm not bad, Matt. I'm feeling better than I was the other day. I'll stick. My emails are not currently working. I'm sticking the link in the chat for people I invite on. If you want to drop in, feel free. I'm using a 4G link today, and Google's having a hernia. They think that I'm somebody trying to hack my own accounts. I'll sort it out when I stop streaming. I only discovered it about 6 minutes before I went live, and I thought, no, too much to fix that up. Matt's a fellow Aussie. He's only about 20 minutes drive from me. And when I put a new gearbox in my car, which I'm actually talking to people later today about, I'm going to be going over there and having coffee with Matt, and we're going to go flying. That's one thing. It's one thing I've really missed. I don't know how it is for you, Mason, but I don't know anybody other than Matt close to me, and I haven't gone flying with anybody yet in 2 years. So that'd be a nice change.
Well, when I lived in Montana, had a 3,200 acre farm there, right up next to the Canadian border, and it was wheat and barley, and I could, everybody was so nice. You can fly your drones anywhere you want to. I said, well, if I just happen to fly over your wheat field or your hay field. I'll let you know if there's a lot of bugs or if it's kind of dry on one end, or, you know, if everything's ripening even, you know. And of course, hey, you're nice enough to let me fly. Hey, here's a video of my flight in case you want to see it. So,
Yep.
And then they come up with all the rules and stuff. Yeah, and I could fly anywhere out there. And now moving to where I live now, my one neighbor that lives on my right-hand side thinks that I work for the CIA or the FBI because I drive two very dark SUVs with very dark windows and cameras all inside that I use for storm chasing and stuff, and all my radio gear. My other neighbor, he has come out in his yard when I've flown, either taken off in my yard and flying back towards the woods, you know, to catch, you know, to film the cattle and stuff like this. And he's come out, well, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to shoot your drone down, you know. And I'm like, hey, go ahead, dude, federal offense. You know, I said, I'll follow the charges, you know. But I mean, it's a whole different mindset here in the area of Missouri I live in, because I mean, everybody's so paranoid. And when I first moved here, you know, my brother's like, you know, you need to watch out flying your drones. And I'm like, well, why? And he says, there's so many meth houses and stuff around here. They're going to think you're the feds, you know. And yeah, I've been threatened to, you know, either to be shot or have my drone shot. So,
Well,
but out there in Montana, people are so understanding, and of course out there everybody carries guns, so you know who's going to shoot at you or not.
well, look, I can imagine it's. And hold on, I've just got to respond to Matt North there. He reckons the coffee's always warm. That's good, mate. I have it sweet. I'll be there. And he reckons that his neighbours think that he's a porn star. You mean that you're not? It's not just your neighbours, Matt. It's the entire YouTube community. I even posted the links. Oh, sorry. Wasn't supposed to say that. He's hiding behind a trailer at work. I wonder what he does. I was just thinking when you said that, you know, to move from Montana to Missouri, that's one hell of a culture shock. It's definitely a big change. You couldn't really move unless you'd been in Alaska. You couldn't really get further away from where you were. Look, I'm very lucky. My neighbours are very, very good. I've lived in this house. I don't own it, but I've lived here for 27 years, and they know me well. When I was in, and this isn't a good area either, and I'm considered the go-to guy in the neighbourhood. And hey, Dennis.
Hey,
and
I'm at work.
That's cool.
If I disappear real quick, it's because, you know, don't work.
Yep, I know what's happening. In my neighbourhood, I've got a prison officer who lives next door to me. She's come home and found the house open, and she's come across to me, and I'll break out a firearm out of the safe and go clear the house for her. So my neighbours are great. And when I got my remote pilot's license, I door knocked all the houses, and because we're one street away from a big bush area here. And I showed them all my license and told them that I'd be taking off and landing in my yard as I tested over the bushland forever. And they're all great. I'm really lucky. But you do get those people who, I'm going to shoot it. And my response is two things. I say, that's a Commonwealth offence. You'll go to jail for it. But don't worry, you won't live that long because I've got more guns than you and I'm better with them. But I'm a bit twitchy for that. Okay, Dennis, how are you today?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm at the end of my work week now. I've just worked like 3 12-hour shifts in a row, and I'm whooped.
Yeah, I can imagine that would have its pluses and minuses. You know, technically, you only work 3 days and you get the rest of the week to yourself. But in reality, when you finish that 3 days, it probably takes you 2 more days to recover.
It takes me a whole day to recover from this. Although today wasn't ridiculously bad, still, it was worse than like most people deal with a day. But I'm good. I'm just packing my stuff up now. I leave here in 55 minutes. I still have a whole hour, so there's a lot of bad could happen in that time.
And let me guess, you could still be called in to decipher a particularly difficult case.
And I could still go to perform a difficult case, so that's plenty. There's enough time for that. So right now,
I've had more than my fair share of ultrasounds over the years, of course, and I always look at the screen with great interest. But I occasionally I can see something the sonographer will say, "Oh, that's whatever it is," and I can see it. But 9 times out of 10, I look at it and think, "Well, I'm glad you know, because I can't tell a thing."
I hear you. I'm like, good. Look at me in my scrubs. Look all official, like a real boy. Here you go.
Really professional there, mate. That's great.
I know. Yeah, that's me, Mr. Professional.
So I was there when you were making Claude's icon, his logo for him, which was good. I take it you're responsible for his animated intro as well?
Oh no, I didn't do any of that stuff. I'm not into that. That was all Nay. He took my thing, ripped it. I sent him the Photoshop file with all the different layers, and he animated it.
Well, it's not a bad job. I recognised your artwork. I thought you perhaps you'd done it. Nay certainly knows his business in that respect.
Yeah, in that respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else? I was like having withdrawals for like live feed withdrawals because you were sick and Claude is away for the weekend. Yes, I haven't. If he's been on, I missed him. But on the Canadian hub today for a little bit.
Well, Claude works Monday through Wednesday driving vehicles as a transporter. So he could, if he's got a big drive tomorrow, he'll be in bed already, resting up. And I only stream your time now, Sunday evening, and again on Wednesdays your time, but not at a good time slot for you. And
Yeah.
the rest of the time I just join in on Claude's and so forth. I was quite ill last week. I'm still not 100%, but I'm better than I was. And
your picture's fantastic.
Yeah, that's the 4G link. I was surprised. I've got a YouTube window behind me, and I brought it up. Wow, that is so clear.
It's night and day.
Well,
here's the question: is this new, or are you just using your phone for a change? Or
yeah,
this is what it's going to be.
Just using my phone. You got it straight out. I've got 2 phones: a business phone and my personal phone. And here in Australia, as I was saying to Mason, the concept of unlimited data mobile plans or cellular plans, as you guys would say, is out of the window. They don't do that out here. We've only just started getting unlimited data home plans in the last year. But I've got 60 gigabytes on one and 20 on the other, which I don't use for much. So I will check and see whether at the end of this broadcast, I'll look and see how much data I've used. And I have my doubts that I'll be able to broadcast every eight broadcasts a month on the data allowance I've got, but I'll make sure that I do at least some on it.
Gotcha. For the record, the unlimited data plans that they do offer the world are ridiculously expensive. At least the ones that I've been offered, to the point where I don't take them. It's just too much.
It's not cheap here. I have about because I've got 4 kids and my wife and myself, and I don't have a tablet device, but I've got 2 phones, and the wife and all 4 kids each have a tablet and a phone, and then I have a business phone as well. So my entire bill per month is in the order of about $800 a month. And
wow.
Yeah,
that makes me ill.
It's a big one. My 2 phone plans, my own personal one, which gives me 20 gigabytes of data, that's about $110 a month for that one. And my business plan, which gives me 60 gigs, is just under 100, about 95, I think. So it's cheaper than the one that gives me less data, you figure.
Yeah, I hear you. When I started traveling, I looked into getting one of those mobile hotspots. That way, when I went from place to place, I didn't have to use other people's data because people can be funny. You know what I mean? And it was just too expensive to consider.
Well, I'm not really left with a lot of choice in respect that I need a service for myself. That much is obvious. And the wife needs one just to keep up with the kids and other issues. Oh, obviously, the kids, because they range from 15 to 17, they all need some sort of connection so that we can keep track of them. And because they're embarking on their social life, and you need to be able to make sure they're okay. So that's not an option. They need their tablets because school, homework, research, that sort of thing. So really, I'm not in a position where I can say no. Just have a chat with Mason for a minute. I'm going to walk over to him. I've got my phone plugged into a power adapter so it doesn't go flat. I'm just going to go and check how the data stream's doing so far.
When you check the data stream later, check
Yeah.
it again in the morning because sometimes they don't register that instantly. I don't know about there, but here they don't.
I have a particular piece of software that gives me a bit of a leg up over the standard. Having done some IT work, I actually monitor with my own internal. I'll have a look.
All right. I'm going to grab a quick drink of water. I'm sorry.
I'm the last Mohican.
I'll be right back. I just need some water from the other room. I'll be right back.
Okay. I brought mine with me.
Sorry. Yeah, my headphones work. I'm like walking around the house with my headphones on. But I can still hear you if you want to talk. I don't feel too weird. There's nobody around me, so I need to drink more water. The more water I drink, the less.
Yeah, Matt, on your comment that you made, I understand that they're doing that now with drones.
Doing what with drones?
Well, Matt said that his neighbors think he's a porn star, and I saw this thing on the news the other day that 8 drone kings in Darwin, but they were using drones for that now as well.
For porn?
Yeah.
Sweet. Now I know I can do it. Nice. I used to do a little photography for some of the local strip bars. I might have to get in on this. Because, you know, got to take the dark road always. I'm so beat.
Well, at least the prop wars coming down. I help keep them a little cooler.
This is true. Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
being a fine Christian man and all, I wouldn't know anything about those things.
Okay, I'm back with you.
Yeah. Of course not.
Well, now we got to clean it up. He's back.
Yeah, that's it. You got to behave now. Hello, Brad. How are you, friend? I'm assuming you're at work, so I won't bother to ask you to join. But if you happen to be home, let me know. But yeah, I've used about 2.5 gigabytes since the beginning of the broadcast.
And you get how much free time?
On that one, I've got about 20 gigs available to me on that account, and 60 on the other. So as I said, I'm not going to be able to do 8 a month, but I'll probably be able to do 4. So that's what I'll do. I'll see how much, as Dennis has suggested, I will wait until tomorrow morning before I make any hard and firm decisions. But hopefully I'll be able to do 3 or 4 a month on the 4G and just improve the quality of it.
Hi. Excuse me. Excuse me.
You're looking really ill, Brad. Gee, Brad, you are looking so ill. You're virtually yellow, mate. I think that you should go home.
Me?
No, Brad. He's just said, don't give him an excuse to go home. He's looking for one. Well, I just told him he's at work. I just told him he looks really ill to me. You're a medical professional. What do you think, Dennis? I think you should go home immediately.
Yeah, I agree.
There you go.
With pay, of course.
Well, of course. I can't see the chat when I do it this way with the phone. All right, well,
That could be a blessing.
he probably is. Unless people are talking to me because I can't see nothing.
It's all right. If anything pops up, I'll warn you. But,
Okay.
I don't know whether we've got Australia's answer to John Holmes still in the chat, or whether Matt's gone off to do some work.
I haven't heard that name in years.
Yeah, I know. It's well, I couldn't tell you the name of any modern porn star. You can tell I'm getting old, can't you? It was terrible when I dropped that rude picture in Claude's. I had to ask my kids for a link to get a rude picture off.
I don't think I can name anybody past Ron Jeremy.
Yeah, that's it. He's about the last, and he's still around. I saw him on TV the other day in a mainstream television show. I can't remember what it was currently, but I looked at him and thought, my God, And then my kids told me, oh, yeah, he's still doing porn. I just thought, you've got to be kidding me.
Well, that's his appeal, is that he's an ugly man begging hot chicks. They're like, wow, he can do it. I can do it. I guess.
And in case anyone's shocked that my kids are have looked at porn, if you think that you've stopped your kids, you're kidding yourself.
I don't think I stopped my kid. Unfortunately, I think my kid has no interest in porn, which I think bothers me more.
Well, the way I deal with my kids is this: that there's a lot of things that they do that I don't necessarily approve of. But if I decide, as Sun Tzu says, choose carefully the battles which you fight. If I decided to make a battle over every issue, then they never talk to me about anything, and I would never learn what they're doing. So being laid back about it, they tend to let me know what they're up to, and I only intervene if I think they're doing something unsafe.
I agree. My son will talk to me about anything.
Okay, Matt. Take care, mate. Yeah, look, I'm really lucky. My kids, and even more important, my daughters will speak to me about anything. You know, things that are traditionally considered to be women's issues. They'll come and talk to me as soon as they will their mum, and I consider that I'm privileged for that.
Yeah, that is. I have because I do obstetrical work, OB/GYN stuff most of the time. A lot of my friends' daughters come to me, and I'm like, it's so weird. It still feels weird, but I know the answers because I don't know what to say to you. Well, let's call Dennis.
Well, that is a great compliment for people to send their kids to you. You must feel at some level you must feel complimented.
You know what? As perverted as I am, I'm very complimented because they know that I'm a pervert, but I'm not a pervert. You know what I mean?
Well, the way my kids put it, because my kids actually point the attractive young ladies out to me as we were driving down the road. And my daughter coined the phrase one day. She was talking to one of her friends, and she said, "You know, my dad thinks that your mother's good looking," which shocked her. And my daughter then says, "Oh, my dad's a perv, but he's not a pervert."
I like it. I might have to change that to my slogan on the page. Yeah, I'm a perv. I'm a perv, but I'm not a pervert.
Yeah, if you make me a logo, you can put that on the top instead of "what the hell." No, I'm only kidding. Oh dear.
Yeah, you know what? My logo days are over. Unless if someone wants something, I have no problem doing it because I just modified what he had because it was nasty, and then they took it away from there, and I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Well, hang on, I put this
Step on my toe, kill my glory, and like what? And I was like, he had like an hour, and they had to like do Nay stuff, and you know.
Nay is very knowledgeable in his areas, and I can defer. But as I said to you in that email, render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. I have no problems in deferring to people who know more than me in various areas, because there's a lot of areas I'm not highly skilled in. But in the areas that I am, I'll follow my own experience and my own learning first.
Yeah, I agree. And I've also learned in computers and technology, there's no one way of doing things.
Oh yeah.
What's best, and there's nothing I mean, there's very few things that are truly best at anything. Like when he talked about stuff the other day, he was like, "This is the best, and this is this, and this," and he's like, I don't get
What
it.
he
I don't
means
buy
is
it."
what he means is it's best for him, and I'm not being funny about that. When people say to me, "How do I do X?" my general response is, "Well, here's 2 or 3 ways you could do it," and I'll tell them, and I'll say, "Try them out and find out what works best for you."
Right.
And we've all done that in Windows in particular, but it's the same under Linux and not so much under OS X. But there are 10 different ways to do any one thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I told my boss here. I've only been here for 3 weeks at this hospital. I travel, and he started to show me all the stuff on computers, and I was like, and I was just doing it, and I said, just hold on, and I started showing him all the ways that I do it, the same things, and he goes, "That's like half the work," and I said, "Yes,
Yes.
you want to find the easiest way to do something, hang out with a fat lazy guy like me." And hold on, I gotta mute this, getting a call. I'll be right back.
Okay. No, I'm definitely with Dennis Mason. I'm a lazy IT guy. In other words, I'll always find the way that has the least amount of steps.
Yeah, it's just like, that's just like my son. He calls up and still asks questions at 32. And, say, well, this, like especially if it's something that happened to me, I'd say, well, my grandmother said do it this way. I did it this way, but she told me wouldn't work, and it didn't work. But the only thing I can tell them, is like I'll let you know what I did and how I fixed it or whatever, and just giving things from my personal experience. Of course, being from a small town where I grew up, and then you get thrown into the big world when you go into the military. You learn quite a lot more things in other countries than what your girlfriend can teach you at home.
Oh yeah, but when you say your son comes to you still over 30, that's to me that's a testament to how well you've brought him up. Because I tell that to my kids. I tell them never think that you've got all the answers, and especially as you age, which to me, growing old. Well, I've said it a number of times on live streams. Growing old is mandatory, but growing up is optional.
True.
You're only old in my mind when you become too fixed in your ways to take on new concepts or to entertain the possibility of changing your mind. And I'm always open to being convinced and changing my mind. If someone's got a better idea or a better way, or if their opinion is more relevant than mine, I will. And sometimes it's hard, but I will change lanes. And I tell that to the kids. I said, never get so sure of yourself that you're not prepared to listen to somebody else's input. And I see your comment there, Thomas. Look, this is the thing. People who are highly intelligent tend to be highly opinionated because they've learnt to rely on their own intellect, their own powers of deduction and conclusion. And after a while, they yep, good move. After a while, they tend to rely on themselves and they become less open to other. I've got friends that I work with who are like that. They're no smarter than me, but they're certainly far more arrogant. Yep.
You got that right, because I'm very open-minded, and I'm always willing to accept the fact that I could be wrong, but most of the time that isn't the case. But I'm polite and I stand back and I listen and let them talk, but I don't want to get involved in that.
Well, I'm always open to be corrected, and if somebody, as long as it's done in obviously none of us like to be ridden roughshod over, but as long as somebody does it in a tactful manner, I don't have any problem with somebody saying, hey, hang on, Ari, have you ever looked at doing it this way? I think that's a bit better because of X, Y, and Z. And I'll go off and try it and come back and say, well, I still think my way's better because of this, or, you're right, that is a better way. I'm going to do it that way from now on.
Well, I sit there and, I'll get into a discussion with somebody and they'll say, no, 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 no. And, I say, well, I'll go try it. I mean, within the law and everything else. But, and I'll say, well, hey, you were right all along, and accept my apology for, getting into an argument with you about it. But I'm always man enough to step back and say when I'm wrong.
That's what matters. I say this to my kids. They're at that age where they're, testing the waters with their first relationships. And I tell them that it's not a mark of how good your relationship is that you never argue or that you never quarrel. What defines your relationship is how well you get over that.
Absolutely.
Dennis, he never quarrels with his good lady because he's got the sense to live in separate abodes most of the time.
That's it. That's it. And I do what I'm told, and that's that.
Yeah, that's right. The two most important words a married man can learn. Yes, dear.
Yes, dear. I do what I'm told because I know I'm only going to be home for a week. I don't want to fight the whole week I'm home or 2 weeks or whatever. And I do what I'm told. And then I know, because I know I'll be on my own in a few weeks. I'll suck it up until it's time to go.
I refer to Leanne, my wife, as the Minister for War and Recreation. And people laugh when they hear that. And I say, well, it's only partially a joke. Listen to that. There's a hidden message there.
So this doctor just called and yelled at me, like one of the radiologists, which I was like, and didn't give him any kind of back talk, but looks like he wanted back talk because he kept on repeating himself. And I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. And I could tell he was getting pissed. The tone was so like, if you were standing in front of me, dude, you would have seen the look on my face. But on the phone, I could sit there and pretend that you're not getting to me. But he was just people. So these guys, first of all, he's probably half my age, or whatever, But I turn around because they do these thing called city loops, which are like videos of the study, and I said, I'm sorry, I've never worked anywhere where they do city loops, and that's the only people who ever do city loops where I come from are the people right out of school because I want to make sure they don't make mistakes. You know what I mean? Take videos, like you do your pictures and then you do video. Here they want them on everybody, and I'm like, that's just crazy. But I've seen the way some of the tech scans. I get it.
Do you think it's to cover their butt legally?
Well, no, because you're best off. Less is more when it comes to covering your butt. You know what I mean? You're just giving them more ways to say, well, this looks like this could have been what you missed. When you show a city loop, whatever. I don't know, whatever. It's just, to me, it's not something. He goes, he goes, well, a lot of places do that. And I was going to say, no, they don't.
Yeah, but you're better off.
I said, oh, I just went, oh, okay. Well,
it's funny because I've asked doctors, like when I've had surgery and stuff, I say, hey, if I bring a camera, all the gear, make sure everyth's sterilized and all that stuff, would you film the surgery for me? Because
no, they don't want to do that.
Hell no, and he says, I don't, if something goes wrong and it's on tape and it's my butt.
Because you look at it and people can interpret things any way they want, to support to support the outcome. You don't want to do that. Just like they used to give out videos of ultrasounds, like the babies. They don't do that anymore. They learned that lesson the hard way.
They still do here.
Because hindsight's always 20/20. You turn around and they look at your baby's born with a defect. Now you go back and look at all these ultrasounds, these videos, and you could say, well, you missed it here, you missed it here, you missed it here.
Yeah.
But it's easy to find something when you're looking for it. You know what I mean? Some oddity. It's just. Plus, there's nothing you can do about them anyway. It happened. So you're saying you would have aborted your child? And what are you saying? Like, it's a can of worms.
Yeah, I find that kind of stuff interesting, though. That's it's my body, and if I want to take pictures of it, hey, in a surgical manner. But
I get it.
Yeah, but if it's my body and I say it's okay for you to film it, even if something goes wrong, anything can go wrong in surgery. You know that as well as I do.
Yep. I'll tell you right now that you're probably better off not seeing your own insides. Just saying.
Well,
It's
I don't know about that. I don't know. Look, over here, they're
I
not
did
quite so bad.
autopsies for 2 years. I've done the autopsies for 2 years, and I'll tell you right now that the similarity between humans and pigs
Totally different. Yeah.
I'm not sure if we really evolved from the apes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all
I worked for a funeral home, and then I also worked at the morgue at Lincoln General. So blood and guts don't bother me, not even my own.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah, I've seen enough of human insides when they've become outside in theatres of war. You do become used to it.
Hey, oh hi. I'm. Let me just get rid of this. You're here. That's right. You come in earlier. I'm so happy to see you. Get this to stop.
Okay. Well, we're just quiet there. But, yeah, look, they're not so bad out here in Australia, the doctors. We're not quite so litigious, although we're heading that way as the US. And also, as I said to you before, Mason, when I have my surgeries, I always have to, they don't want to do it. I have to sign a disclaimer and say, go ahead. Each time I have the surgery, they generally give me a 1 in 3 chance of dying. And because I signed the waiver, I don't really have any comeback. It's on my head. I take all responsibility. So I asked them when they did the chest reconstruction to take photos, not video, and they were quite okay with that, warning anybody who's squeamish should look away at this point. Wrong one. Where is it? There it is. I asked them to take some photos, and my surgeon, that's when they did the chest reconstruction. You can see where they're trying to wire together what's left of my ribs down in there. They took it for me, and they were really good. I'll drop that off. I don't want to go into too much gratuitous gore. My kids love that. My wife is squeamish.
That's like my son. He's up here visiting. Since I got like this, he came up to cut my grass and all this other stuff, and he saw a snake in the yard today, and he said, I think I hit it with the weed eater. It kept opening its mouth, and it was coming after me. And I'm like, don't be such a sissy.
Yes, Thomas, generally speaking, there's at least one lady on every ambulance crew, paramedic crew, and there are some all-female crews as well. And I've been carried out, well, I've been taken out of here a couple of times. They thought I was having a heart attack the one of the times they took me away, which I wasn't, just a little matter of a blood sugar of 25. But these two young ladies turned up, and they wanted to carry me out on a stretcher, and I just looked at them. I said, don't bother, I'll walk, thanks. I'm sick enough now, I don't need to be dropped. If you don't mind me asking, Mason, how long ago was it that you went after the turtle and ended up in the wheelchair?
It's been about maybe 3 weeks.
You would still be adjusting to that big time.
Yeah, it kind of feels like my left hip and pelvis and everything is over on my right side instead of being lined up with my left. So, it's just all messed up. But it is what it is, and from working on rescue squads and stuff, a lot of my life, and plus being in the service and stuff, it's taken a toll on my body. When I was with Force Recon, jumping out of perfectly good airplanes, fast roping, and all this stuff, with the 60 to a 90-pound pack on your back, it's taken its toll. And I did rodeo for 4 years, so getting jostled around there, and You know, you reap what you sow, my friend.
Yeah, life has its way of paying you back in spades. I was lucky. I've never done any airborne ops. Even with security, private, I ended up doing most everything the regular military would do. But some of our guys did drop in, but I never did. I've all my life. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4", and I've always run to the heavy. And
Yeah.
most of my life, I've always sat around the 260-pound mark. I'm up further than that now. I need to get that in hand now that they've stopped my physical activity. But that's by the time I had a full pack on and everything that went with it, all my equipment, I was outside of the maximum safety zone for weight, so I never had to jump out of a perfectly good aeroplane.
Yeah, I was looking at what, excuse me, Thomas O'Sullivan was saying about a show called Paramedic on TV over there. I've watched this one. God, I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, I guess they're on your air flight evacs. They have a doctor on board too, don't they?
Yeah, that's
This one show.
Royal Flying Doctor Service, r.p.a.s.
Oh, okay. So is there a difference between just like say somebody being trapped in a car as compared to something else, to whether the doctor flight goes or
Yep.
or just a difference? Because over here, basically, we have I've done interviews for my channel and stuff on air evac systems here, and we have, of course, the pilot, and then you have a flight nurse and a flight paramedic.
Well,
And
here in
those are,
Australia, sorry, Mason, didn't mean to talk over you. It's
okay.
the lag in the link. It's hard for me to pick up sometimes without going over you. Here in Australia, we've got Australia's landmass is roughly the same as the continental US, not including Alaska. But in that area, we have a population of about 22 million. So the east coast is fairly heavily populated, and a little across the eastern part of the southern coast, and a few hot spots up the west coast and across the north. But most of the centre is very sparsely populated. I spent a lot of my youth out there, and it's quite possible to drive for days and never see anybody, or walk for weeks and never see anybody. And every year we get a number of tourists who come over here and take a car into the centre to have a look at remote places and don't equip themselves properly and break down and die. So in the Reverend John Flynn in the 1920s put together the Royal Flying Doctor Service, and their job is they get called in by radio. Well, it used to be radio, now that it'll be generally through a satellite link. And they fly into the remote centres with an aircraft, a doctor, and they'll treat them there if they can't. I should say, and if they can't, they'll fly them back to the main population areas. That's it's theoretically a private institution, but it liaises heavily. But if you're in one of the population areas up and down the east coast, you'll be dealt with by the normal medevac teams, and generally speaking, they're paramedics, highly trained, but they generally don't have a medical doctor on board.
Yeah, it's interesting how the different services work, though.
It's different between the countries, and yeah, Thomas, it's well, I'm about 20 miles south of Brisbane, which is the capital of Queensland.
Ooh, dark.
Oh, he turned out the light. What are you doing, Dennis? You'll go blind.
I think he's going home.
Someplace dark. And I'm using my phone as a flashlight.
Oh, I saw the reflection of glasses. So has the doctor yelled at you again?
All right. I'm not going home yet. I still have time, but I'm relieved for my post, so I could sit and count down the minutes.
Don't get in trouble for streaming in the hospital.
I don't care. They won't do anything.
I got the impression you were a little more annoyed than you were letting on.
By that woman?
No, by the doctor. I thought the woman. I didn't hear what went on with the woman.
Oh yeah, that doctor pissed me off.
Look, I'm with you.
He's like, you know what? You need to learn how to talk to people, dude.
Bingo. Courtesy costs nothing. I learned this from my grandfather. I've been in command and in senior position. I have learned to royally rip the living shit out of somebody without ever raising my voice or using a denigratory tone, denigratory euphemism.
Gotcha. I get it. I just, people could be stupid. Stupid, insecure. Like, I don't know. Like, he was like, the tone. And I wanted to go, I'm sorry. Why are you talking to me like that?
Yep.
You're telling me something I'm hearing for the first time. I agreed with you. You're repeating yourself in an angrier tone. What can I do for you, sir? Like, I mean, I'm done it. Do you want me to hop in the time machine, go back and redo everything again? Want me to rescan the patients? Tell me.
And in the end, you can't ask anything more than for somebody to say, well, look, I'm sorry about that. I did it with the best of intentions, but I won't do it again if that's not how you want it done.
He's annoyed that it got to that he got to that point instantly instead of me arguing with him, because some people like to argue.
Yeah, look, and I'm sure that Mason can identify this. When you're working with people in, let's just say, dangerous environments, when the same person that you're dressing down now might be the guy who's watching your back tomorrow, you learn to be polite about things, even when you're not happy.
Yep.
Exactly. I am so tired.
So
what time is it there?
It is 11:40 a.m.
Oh, it's morning.
And look, I'm feeling a lot better today. I was still feeling miserable yesterday. Of course, when I finish here, I've got to assemble 2 beds and ring up about a replacement gearbox. That's probably going to cost me $4,000 or $5,000.
Ouch.
Yeah, and that's for a car it's a 15-year-old car, but it's been in the family since it was new, and Dad gave it to me when they took away his license. And I would like to just scrap the bastard, but if I did, my dad would be hurt. And as I spent $6,000 on it about the end of 2018, I suppose I will keep on.
What is it?
It's now what would you call it? I think you might call it a Mitsubishi Diamante.
Doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay, out here, they were made here, although Mitsubishi's now gone out of business here. They were made here as Mitsubishi Magnas. They're a medium-sized 4-door sedan with a 3.5-litre V6 engine.
Right.
And they were sold in the US and in New Zealand. And as a matter of fact, they made them longer here for export to the US than here. But it's gotten to say, look, it's not a bad car. It's only done 108,000 kilometers, which would be about 63,000 miles. And it's had every single service and a mint of money spent on it. And it's developing about 250 kilowatts now, which would be, trying to do conversions in my head, about 325 horsepower, brake horsepower. So, I've tickled it along quite well, but it's at the point now where every time something breaks and I ring up, they go for a part, they go, oh, no, we haven't made that in 10 years. Have you tried the wreckers or on eBay? I'm getting a bit tired of that.
Yeah, I can see that.
I just want to sell it because, there's a lot of enthusiasts who still drive them, and I could get a lot of money for parting it out for that reason because there's so little left. But, as an everyday car, it's not really so practical anymore. I'd like to just part it out or sell it and buy a Ford.
Gotcha. I'd like to take a nap.
Well, lock the door and put something soft down on the floor. You've got my permission.
And turn off your beeper.
I handed off the beeper. That's what I was doing in the dark. Putting it away. I'm done. I'm only sitting here counting the minutes. Now I have to wait 10 more minutes before I can punch out.
Good value.
Well, by the time you punch out and walk to your car, that'll be 10 minutes.
No, but the time clock's right here where I'm sitting.
A pussycat. Did I see a pussycat there, Mason?
Yeah, that's Lionheart.
Lionheart. Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Right in here, he has a big mane around. He's shedding, and my air conditioning went out just before the show. And I'm here sweating worse than a lady of the night going to church. And his long hair, since he's shedding, is getting all in my face. And all right, son, off you go.
Well, I've stopped using the air conditioning just recently. I think winter starts here in another week or 10 days. It's getting cool by our standards. As you can see, I'm wearing flannel. But as for what, well, don't take my word for it. Hey, Google, what is the temperature?
The temperature in Kingston right now is 23.
23 degrees Celsius. That's cool for me.
Okay, Alexa, what's the temperature here?
Right now, it's 82 degrees. Tonight, expect a low of 63 degrees.
Hey,
What is
Google.
the temperature here in Celsius?
It's about 23 degrees Celsius outside.
There you go.
Same as here. Hey, Google,
Yeah.
what is 83 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius?
83 degrees Fahrenheit equal 28.333 degrees Celsius.
Wow, it's a lot warmer there.
Yeah, you all got that funny math and stuff over there, you know.
Yeah, on 100.
Yeah, that's right. We kid ourselves that everything should be divided by 10 or 100.
Yeah, that would be weird and easy.
I remember when I was in the 8th grade, they were starting to bring metric into the school, and they say, "Oh, by the time you graduate, metric will be everywhere," you know. And I'm like, I don't want to learn that stuff. Just give me a gallon of gas, you know,
Well,
a quart of milk.
1 US gallon is 4.43 litres. 1 UK gallon is 4.2. I was in the 5th grade when we changed from imperial to metric, so I can work equally well in either, and I can do fairly good conversions back and forth, which annoys the Christ. My kids really hate it. Thomas reckons that 23 degrees would be a good summer's day. Yeah, we laugh, Thomas, because every time you get to 30 degrees Celsius in the UK, we get it on the news how you're having a killer heat wave and 150 people have dropped dead. That's our normal summer's day.
well, just for the record, it's going to go down to 14 Celsius here tonight.
We're
In the
expecting
next hour.
We're expecting 8 degrees Celsius here, so I expect that a half a dozen elderly people will freeze to death in my neighbourhood tonight.
I got nothing politically correct to say about that.
Well, look, it's what you're used to, isn't it? As I say to people, and when I was talking to the guys on Drone Hum, when I first started getting on, Roger still he took us to the front door on one occasion, and he had a snowdrift out there a metre deep almost, and I just said to him, 3 feet. I just said to him, I'm 55 yet now, and I have not yet seen snow falling in my life.
I wish I could say that.
Well, down in Montana, where I lived, right up 30 miles from the Canadian border. I mean, 3 feet of snow was nothing. Where I lived, you better be stocked up on beer, cigarettes, whiskey, food, dog food, and have a full tank of gas in your car. And we heat it by propane. So you better have plenty of supplies, because I'm 40 miles from town, and one drop of rain hits those dirt roads, and you're not getting out, period, until they dry.
I can see Lionheart's tail. My co-pilot's not in his usual spot this morning. Well, you know, I meant to comment before when you said you'd had 3,000 plus acres in Montana. That sounds like my idea of heaven. And I don't mind cold weather by our standards, but I've never really experienced it on that level. I have experienced below zero, but it wasn't yet snowing. Thomas says that, oh, hello, Brent Nunley. Hello, my friend. There's a link in case you want to join us. I haven't got operational email at the moment because I'm using a 4G link. So if you're getting better video than usual, now you know why. Although with my face, I'm not sure whether that's considered to be a good thing or otherwise.
Is it considered better?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have any illusions. I never consider I'm a good-looking guy. Unlike Philly, who apparently can still get my 17-year-old daughter to swoon over him.
How's that happen?
I don't know. apparently, of all the traits that she inherited from me, bad taste was one of them. Look, Philly's a great guy. I laugh. I was watching. I had 2 days in bed, Dennis, and when I got up, I had 200 videos to catch up on. I've got to unsubscribe from a few channels, I think. But I caught up with Philly's one where he was eating an ice cream again, and I was laughing. I suppose I shouldn't be. To him, it's got a big import because, I mean, neither you and I are exactly slim, Dennis, but he was 600 pounds plus. That would have to be a whole different level again.
He was?
Yeah, he was over 600 pounds. He's
Wow.
yeah, I think he's had a gastric bypass, and he was asked to speak at a convention for people with weight loss problems as a success story.
How much did he lose?
I think that he's down in the low 200s now and still going down.
Wow.
So yeah, look, I'm about 285 currently, and I'd like to be 240. I'd be happy at 240 with my build and my height.
I'd be thrilled with 240.
Yep, I would be.
I'm
But
5'9" and 210.
yeah, well, I've always run to heavy, but I used to keep a heavy exercise regime up so I was fit, even though I carried a bit extra weight. I used to do 6 days a week, 3 hours a day at the gym, and ride 40, 50 miles a week on the push bike. But as most of my internals are held in by the largest pieces of surgical mesh they make sewn together, I'm not allowed to lift anything that weighs more than 3 kilos, and I'm not allowed to pedal on anything in case I build up my intra-abdominal pressure and burst like a balloon.
But Billy said he was going to get the rolls cut off, didn't he?
I'm sorry, I missed that, Nathan.
Cut off the what?
I think Billy the other day was talking about having another surgery to have all the excess skin.
Yep.
And that's the only problem when you get that big and have, and then you have all that weight on.
Thomas, are you serious or are you just joking? I have to say, look, I'm still fully mobile at 280 or 285, whatever I am. I'll actually do a conversion, I can tell you, because I weighed at the doctor's the other day. But I just know 280 and 1/2 pounds, so it wasn't a bad conversion. I'm still fully mobile. I can get up and down and do anything I want to do and go out and climb. I know they tell me I'm not allowed to pick up more than 3 kilos, but I do. And I can still walk for 2 or 3 miles carrying all my gear on a job site and all this sort of thing. But I'm 55, and it's that end of life where you start to develop all the health issues, the heart problems and this sort of thing. And I know that weighing a little bit less would be good. Yep, not a problem, Brent. Cool. Well, Thomas, I can understand why you're worried, although you're a fair bit younger than me, so you can probably get away with it for a few more years. Look,
How much does he weigh?
550.
Oof. I am 370 and change.
You know where we're at, Dennis. And how old?
I'm 53.
So you're right in my ballpark, and you know what I'm saying. We can do it. We're at that age where we're starting to ask ourselves, do we really want to?
I don't understand. Do what? We can.
Do we really want to maintain? Do we really want to maintain that weight and struggle along? Even though
we don't.
Yeah.
But we want pizza too. So.
But my options are, because they restrict me so strictly on what I can do exercise-wise, and because I seem to have this what they call down here the thrift gene, i.e. everything I eat immediately gets stored on body fat, because I don't eat that much. The only way I'm going to lose weight is by essentially starving, and quite frankly, my life's difficult enough without adding that to my my list of crosses to bear.
Gotcha.
Well, this little tummy here that I want you to know that I paid for every beer, every steak, every slice of pizza that helped me get this manly man body.
Yeah, that's it. I'm not sensitive about it. I know some people are. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? Over here, and the thing, actually, the thing that annoys me the most about it is not actually being technically overweight. It's all the propaganda. I don't know whether you get it over there, but in any state, you can guarantee that 3 times in every evening, the government-sponsored ads against obesity will air on the television, essentially making sure that you feel ashamed and remorseful about yourself.
And to me, you know, the shame game isn't how it should be handled.
No.
You know, I mean, like you were saying earlier, you can make somebody feel like a piece of dog poop just by the way you say it. You know, I mean, you know, and just like a chef, he can put a dog doo-doo on a plate and a little garnish around it, and however he positions that, you would think it was the best tasting one of them all.
Yeah. Thomas has just put in chat that he left work 2 years ago to lose weight. And the first year he lost 140 pounds. And the second year he put it back on again. He started again. And hopefully, look, I do understand that, Thomas. I have pulled my weight down 50, 60 pounds in the past. But to maintain it, it's very hard. You must be nearly done, Dennis. Yep, he's dropped offline. I thought I saw trees behind him. Yep. Are you still there?
Yeah, I just turned the Wi-Fi off because it was getting weak connection because I'm outside.
Yeah, I thought I saw green behind you. He's heading for the BMW.
I am.
It's a nice bike. I like that. I haven't ridden that model. A friend of mine has got the Yamaha, the Tenere 1200, the new one, and
I rode it. I didn't like it.
Yeah, well, it's similar to that, and I rode it. I didn't mind it. To be honest, they've overthought it a little bit from my perspective. It's got all the electronic controls for different power ranges, you know, set for power or set it for comfort and this, that, and the other. And I don't want to think that hard when I'm riding.
Look how pretty. The beast.
Yeah. The horizontally opposed engine would be smoother than the bloody Yamaha, that's for sure.
It is. It's super smooth. Let me put you down for a second.
Okay, not a problem. We're going to go for a ride, guys.
Mikey's got a nice bike, Philly Drone.
Yeah, he's got the, is it the Suzuki, the C180 or something like that?
Oh, I thought it was a Harley.
No, it's a it's better than a Harley. It's a Japanese mock-up.
Yeah.
I know that sounds it's heresy to people in the US, but out here, well, we do have our cadre of dyed-in-the-wool Harley owners, but most people consider them to be two-wheel tractors.
I am one of those people.
Yeah. I know that the new ones are better, but in my peak riding period of my life, all Harleys had push rods and all of them leaked oil like a bitch.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Not for me. And if I do have a V-twin currently, but it's a 90-degree V-twin, not one of those 55-degree Harley things.
Took my hand. I can't hear. Give me a second.
Go for it, mate. I love watching him put his helmet on.
Yeah, he'll sit there and he'll come up and tap you on the nose to be petted or.
Oh, he's beautiful. I was watching him there. He's not in here. He's in with my daughter, who is actually her cat, but my co-pilot, as I call him, he just lays around in here, and I didn't really expect it, but he was always a camera shot for so many of my live streams that people started to remark about him. So now I've got the second camera, which is pointed at where he normally sits. I call it my co-pilot cam. I figured if Roger can have Roxy cam, I can have co-pilot cam.
Yeah, he's very affectionate, but yet you let a stranger walk in the house, and he runs and hides till he gets to know you.
I know that he's going to sound arrogant, but I bet you I could win him over. I love cats, and generally speaking, they love me.
Yeah, I've got 3 cats, Chihuahua, a German Shepherd, another one half Australian Shepherd, half Australian cattle dog, a bunch of chickens, 3 mallard ducks, and a broad-breasted white turkey.
You sound like a country boy at heart.
Yeah, well, I've always had animals all my life, and
Myself as well, and I made sure the kids do. Okay, Dennis, you're mobile. Do you have some sort of audio solution in place that you can?
Yes, I do. I've been listening to you talk about animals.
That's great, and you've got good audio. I can tell that you're in the helmet, but that's really good audio.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic. I've used it for years for my videos, and then I would video with whatever, and then I would superimpose this audio into the video. Because I mean, this is if you can see my side of my helmet.
Yep.
I got you.
That's a Cena 10C. It's a 1080 camera, but the audio, and it's also a communicator, so it connects to my phone. So I can make phone calls, listen to music. The video is okay, but the audio is good enough to use for my vlogging. Although now I've created a new setup a few weeks ago that's fantastic, so I haven't really been using it.
Cool, Rob. Hello, Rob, I should say. Sorry, Dennis. And Chris Hope. Hello, sir. I should know you. I'm looking at my notes here. I learned long ago never to rely on my memory when it came to names. So I keep cheat sheets.
Oh, there's Chris Hope.
Okay, and Chris. It's going to work. Yes, it worked this time. I had problems. And Rob and Chris, there's a link for the panel if either of you guys are inclined to drop in. Just do me a favor, Dennis. Ride carefully. I don't want a front row seat to a tragedy.
Oh, no promise. But I won't do any wheelies if that makes you feel any better.
Oh, you can do wheelies, just don't fall off.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah.
So I changed the camera angle so you can actually maybe see a little background too.
Yep, we've got a nice blue sky and clouds over your right shoulder, but we're getting your helmet in the left-hand field of view.
That's what I was going for.
Yep.
Yeah, always the photographer. I am.
So that camera is what you're using to capture the sections of motorcycle footage you put in your video clips.
This camera?
Yeah.
It's one of the cameras I use. I don't use it too much anymore. I got a GoPro for Christmas, and the GoPro, I never wanted to like it, but they do such a damn good job.
I hear. Well, I did ride with an action camera on my helmet, similar to how you've got, and then they passed a law here in Australia, and I got pulled over and threatened to be prosecuted because, according to them, it compromises the structural safety of your helmet to even attach a camera via the method of a suction cup. In an accident, that can place unnatural stresses on the helmet, you know.
You know what? That's not ridiculous, but it's also not likely.
Yeah, exactly. You can legislate against the probable, but you should never try and legislate against the left field, I think.
Well, you know, the problem is they're trying to keep people from filming because they don't want people doing stupid stuff while they're filming. I get that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
People, I instruct people how to road race on a road race track, and the guys with the GoPros are always the ones to go down. The ones that are trying to, because they're always riding over their head trying to get to that cool shot, and they end up, crashing.
Yep. Look, it's true, but I used to wear a camera simply to, in case of an accident, and also because there are often a lot of things that I would see as I was riding along, and of course you don't have a notepad or anything on you, and I'd think to myself, I must make a note of that and look it up later, especially when I was out touring on the road. So I would go back through my footage and pull out what it was I'd seen. It might be a sign or something, and I'd be able to get it that way. And I think that out here in this outrageous nanny state, a lot of it's as much to do with they don't want you to film other people, and they don't want you to, especially they don't want you to film the police in the performance of their duties. I've had them get quite testy with me over wearing a camera and leaving it on when they've pulled me over, telling me that I'm not allowed to do that, and that's against the law, which I sort them out pretty shortly over that, but they don't like it.
If you get time later, look on my channel and look at my photography bike. It's a long video. I won't lie. It's the longest video I've ever made. But it goes over all the camera mounts, the different, like I have the cameras hidden on the bike. It's not a bad video. A lot of good ideas on it. So you'll see how I do what I do.
I'll have a look.
There's a lot of how-to stuff there.
Out here, the people who carry the most cameras, funnily enough, are the push bike riders.
Yeah, they are. They're ridiculous. I have like a dash cam. So like under my nose, I have a forward-facing cam. In the back, I have a rear-facing cam that goes to a little box underneath my back seat. So if I get into an accident, I can go back. But it stores like I would say about 20 days worth of footage every minute that I ride. So it's great for my protection. But occasionally, I'll use it for a little B-roll.
Cool. That's a link to the live chat, Les, and I'll put one in. I'll get Dennis's up. Hang on a second.
I'm good.
I'll just Exploration Obsession asked me to put the link into your channel. I'm assuming that the chat would be a little hard for you on your mobile, but you're working on it.
I don't see it on the phone. I don't see the chat when I'm in Google Hangouts. I can't see the chat.
I love your icon. I really do. I've just pulled up your channel. I've got to ask, how the hell did you decide that for a name?
What's that? Nacho? What's that?
Yeah.
Nacho Rolling? Well, technically, my screen name on Adventure Rider is Nacho Roto, R-O-T-O. And that's because during a drunken bike fest thing, I changed my name because I had a big sore on my nacho. Not my balls, not your balls, not your ass. That space in between.
Yep.
So, and roto means broken in Spanish. Well, so Nacho Roto became my screen name on Adventure Rider, but I was going to change it the next day because it was a drunk thing. But I that was like the last time I was allowed to make a change, so I got stuck with the name.
You're the best laid plans. Okay, that second link that I've just put in is to Dennis's channel. Yeah, you got to watch yourself.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, everybody's been calling me Nacho so long that I kind of like it at this point.
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead.
And so Nacho Rolling, I changed my race day photo page. That's why you look at the link, it says race day photo, because I've had that since we had our names in it. And I changed it to Nacho Rolling when I closed my motorcycle business, my motorsports business.
Cool.
So when people go to look for me, they're like, "Well, whatever happened to him?" Well, now they know.
I used to online game for a lot of years. I was the manager and owner for a while of the largest online gaming consortium in the Southern Hemisphere. And I gamed for many years under the name of Decado. And I still have people today who know me as Deck and nothing else. And I even have family members who call me Deck. So
the last couple of hospitals that I worked at, everybody called me Nacho. Because they knew me. They already know, like even the doctors were calling me Nacho. Well, even in front of the patients, they were Nacho. Because, when I was in California, my real name isn't Dennis. And the name Nacho is used as a nickname. Mexicans love using that as a nickname for my real name. So when I told them my name was Nacho, they were like, "Oh, that makes sense." I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. I didn't know that. Actually, it's a nickname for like a half dozen Spanish names.
I don't mind being referred to by nickname as long as it's affectionately done. You know, it's only when they're trying to be derogatory I get a bit annoyed. But you don't mind as long as if they just they hear other people calling you that, so they do. That's okay.
Yeah, no, the hospital. I love it when they call me Nacho at the hospital. Matter of fact, in Santa Cruz, they didn't. I don't think they called me Dennis once because, when I started there, half of them knew me from a job before, and they all knew me from my Instagram channel and my YouTube, and they were like, "Oh, Nacho's here." So they go, "So you must be Nacho," and I'm like, "Oh, it beat me here. All right." But I don't mind. I like it. It's a name, and I am cheesy, so whatever.
Brad in Darwin, Drunkings in Darwin, has just remarked on how clear the audio is on the bike. Yes, Brad, I was remarking on that before. It's a really good job. Well, Dennis, I don't know. It suits you. Tell me, in your job, do you only work with adults or do you work with kids as well?
I do work with kids, adults, babies, people who aren't born yet. I work with everybody.
So do you say to the kids, call me Nacho or I'm Nacho?
No, not the kids, but I do, like, when we start talking about, because YouTube and stuff comes up, YouTube or Instagram, and then they say, "Oh, you have a channel?" "Oh, yeah, I do." And so they go to look at it. I tell them Nacho, and then they know I'm Nacho. So
Yeah, that's good. Kids really acclimatize that stuff really well.
I can't believe how nice it is. Sorry.
So Mason, what's your nickname, Mason? Come on, spill the beans.
Actually, my nickname is Mace.
Mate, I knew
M-A-C-E.
Yep, I knew being ex-military, you'd have to have one.
Yeah, I got that when I was working as an MP, working canine, and I thought, well, why the heck should I send my dog on a hot day to chase somebody down? Just spray him with mace, and so I'd hit you with more times with the mace than I would use my dog. So one day, guy comes in and says, "Hey, Gunny Mace," and I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Oh, Mace is your new nickname." So it kind of stuck.
I'll let you keep trying to guess Thomas's nickname, Brad. Sully, that's right. Yes, of course, because of his icon. Well, because I didn't start with projects until I was quite a bit older than the normal, they used to call me Smot, which was senior member on tour. I was older than all of them.
Nacho's the first nickname I ever had.
Well, my son keeps telling people that I think it's a Bill Cosbyism. He used to tell people that until he was 14, he thought his name was Jesus Christ because every time his father saw him, Jesus Christ.
No, that's my brother. I'm goddammit.
I was surprised because I had heard that 20 plus years ago.
Right.
I was surprised that my young son had been watching Bill Cosby. I know that it's technically it's not done to mention him anymore, but I don't care. Whatever the man has done in real life doesn't affect his comedy work for me.
Yeah, I don't know what to believe about anybody, but I don't care about Bill Cosby either way. I like Bill Cosby. I thought he was funny, but
Well, I don't mind his early humor. I preferred him very early on in his career. I didn't like him much on TV, but I liked him when he did his stand-up stuff when he was young. As far as the truth about,
can I have an ultimate bacon cheeseburger, please? That's it.
And I'll have a double cheeseburger with bacon, large fries, and a chocolate chip, please.
Yeah, I'll have a whammy burger and a McWhammy. Oh no, we're not falling down today, are we?
I gotta eat,
Give Chris. What's the nickname? Yeah, well, Bill Cosby. I don't know the truth about it. It's like Michael Jackson. You can't help but wonder if there's that much smoke, if there isn't a few flames. But the media muddy everything up so much that I don't think any of us are ever going to know the real truth. And as far as Mr. Jackson goes, he's dead. He's not here to defend himself, so leave him alone.
Yeah.
Hello. Lionheart. He makes me.
You don't really get the truth in the news anymore because they have to be so careful on what they say because they may hurt somebody's feelings and blah 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 blah.
This is the problem. This notion that you can go through life and realistically expect not to be offended is utter BS. You know, Lloyd uses the term snowflake, and I can't help. I know that it's a bit derogatory, but the newer generations are so set in it. And I say to them, well, what if your attitude offends me? Oh, well, my attitude's politically correct, so you've got to wear it. Well, yeah, I do? No, it's a joke, and I've said this before on the live streams, but when we were young, when I was young, 40 years ago, the news
and bicycles had really big front wheels, and people rode horses. God.
Yeah, that's right. Back in the day, the news reported what happened, and they let you decide on what to think. Now they
come up with your own conclusions.
Yeah, now they report the news and they tell you what you should think. They don't report. This is the thing I find most annoying is they don't report the whole news. They just report what they think you should know.
Yeah, and that's just like all the drone stuff, you know. I mean, some of the outlandish things. Well, they saw a drone. Well, can you see a little square box when you're moving at 600 miles an hour? You know, where's the picture?
Oh yeah, never let the truth get in the way of a good beat up. Unless it's just said, I like Bill Cosby saying, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who wins or loses. Just drag the next guy down with you.
Say that again?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who wins or loses. Just drag the next guy down with you. And there's more than a little bit of truth in that. All right, guys, I'm going to just step away from the keyboard briefly and check with my brother what's happening, and I'll be back in a moment.
Thank you.
Hey, Obsessions. I saw you say hi in there a few minutes ago, but didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, here you go. I got my hamburger. Life is better. Yay.
So, Nacho, you in Vancouver?
I am.
I was going to ask you that earlier, and I saw a sign there that said Vancouver Tires, so I kind of put one and one together.
Yeah, I'll be here until August, and then I'll head back east. I think. Or I'll head somewhere. Who knows where I'll be going. I don't know. But I'm here. I know one thing. I won't stay here.
Yeah.
I don't like the work it's too it's easy work. There's just too much of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're working me a little too hard at my age. Pick something a little easier. See, I can live with having like a bad day here and a bad day there, but here every day is a bad day. And I got what it takes to deal with it, but no sense in punishing myself if I don't have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I like
to start my camera back.
Yeah, I like your camera, your helmet with that camera set up. The audio is absolutely crystal clear.
Yeah, people don't even know I'm on my motorcycle when I talk to them on the phone. They think I'm in my house or something. Oh. Yeah. Home at last. Yay. Just have to get my crap out. And... Hey, buddy. streamed all the way here. Speaking about using up data, I haven't used any this month. It's already like, I'm like 10 days into my cycle, and I used like under a gig, so I figured, what the hell?
Yeah, on mine, in order to fly my trains, like I don't use a hotspot. I've got a, that's called network tethering or something. But it does a real good job. I can fly just about anywhere with no service, no anything.
Yay. Home. Hey Siri, turn on the lights. No, it's not done. Lights, please. She said it's done. No, it's not.
I can
Hey,
still
Siri?
hear you.
Yeah, I'm going to take my helmet off. Give me a second. Lights, please. She's so mean to me. Oh, you can hear me? All right. Over here.
Okay, I have returned.
We both got back at the same time.
Oh, there you go. Only two things in this world truly understand me: my recliner and my shower. Both are located at home. Yeah, I can relate to that. As you can see, my co-pilot has arrived up there, and he's.
Oh, there's your cat.
Yeah, he's bathing him. It's actually my daughter's cat, but he's pretty well attached to me. He's getting ready to settle in. I told him, I went out there and I was talking to my daughter, and the cat came by. I said, your adoring public is waiting. And he came in here and jumped over. I came in here, I picked him up, and then I put him on his place.
Yeah, it's like after I get hooked up to my machine for my dialysis, Lionheart will usually be laying on my desk, and I'll say, let's go to bed. And he'll run and jump on the bed, and then as soon as I lay down, he plops his body right in my face.
Yes, what I say, dogs have masters and cats have staff.
Right.
So you've arrived home. Well, you've arrived back at your digs, have you, Dennis?
I have to eat my hamburger, but right now I'm kind of, my lights aren't coming on for some reason. Why are you not coming on? Is my router down? What network am I hooked up to?
Technology is great as long as it works.
No, it's great when it works. Right?
Well, they said it was supposed to make things easier. However,
I laughed quite a lot when, as you guys would know, they've been touting the paperless society for 30 years now. And I was joking with somebody about it a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and they said, oh, no, that's no longer the term. They're in the government. And I said, we don't use that term anymore. I said, really? He said, no, it's the paper-light society.
God.
Personally,
He's enjoying that way too much.
Yeah, I know. I was just thinking, how can we spoil it for him? But probably can't.
What, the burger?
Yeah, that's right.
I took one bite.
Yeah, I know.
I know, and then it was like he was in ecstasy. It's like, oh my God, hello, burger, come see me, oh baby.
Hello, burger. Oh, you're the only one who understands me, burger. And don't leave.
In fact, it was your daddy.
Oh dear, rotten bastard.
I did not say that.
Well, I can. However, I just console myself that knowing that I can go down the ladder and get a burger, and our burgers are better than yours. So, yeah.
Whatever, bro.
I had a friend come over a gamer friend about 15 or 20 years ago now, and we I don't know, we did the usual thing you do when somebody comes from overseas. We took him around here and there and saw all the sights, and took him to Lone Pine, where he refused point blank to cuddle a koala. He was terrified of it, and all this sort of thing. But on the way back, we stopped at Hungry Jack's, which is what Burger King call themselves in Australia. Same company. And of course, the menu was familiar to him because about 2/3 of the menu overlaps. And he ordered what he normally orders in the US, and he virtually had multiple orgasms on the spot. He couldn't believe how much better it was here, which surprised me because I thought it would have been the same. That's the truth. That's what he said. So I thought it would have been the same, but apparently our standards of meat, which I know that Australians are pretty picky, but evidently our standards of meat, etc., are a lot different.
No. Hamburger.
Prictosaurus.
Damn it.
Oh, he's making sure that we've got a ringside seat.
Oh, well, thanks. If you don't, it's like in school. If you don't have enough to share and go around, you can't have any at all.
I am sharing.
I know. I can smell it from here.
Yeah, we're going to call you Pavlov from now on, not Nacho. Because all of the dogs are dribbling now.
Yeah, I told Sandy and my son because I was, you had just flashed up your screen, for the countdown. And I told them, I said, nope, you guys go ahead and eat. I've got to do this. And so my steak's still sitting in there and hasn't reached the Barbie yet.
It's always the way. Brad is still waiting for his Big Mac to turn up. And yes, here in Australia, food delivery is a relatively new thing, about 3 or so years since it became mainstream. They've just recently banned it from my kids' school because too many kids were ordering in McDonald's at lunch, and apparently that's unhealthy. The thought police are alive and well.
Well, that's like when I was in senior high school, they had a dairy chair just off campus, and they said, they put that off that you had to stay on the school premises during lunch. So you either brought your lunch or whatever, but you couldn't go off campus to go eat.
Brad, yes, serious, mate. It's gotten so bad here, Mason, that the schools have a quota on how much unhealthy food they can sell. Like they're only allowed to sell 30 servings of hot chips or 25 meat pies, and everything else has to be on the approved list: salad, sandwiches, etc., etc., etc.
That's insane.
Australia is an outrageous nanny state. The only part of it that you hear overseas is about our gun laws. People can't be trusted to own guns. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but that's only the tip of the iceberg. It filters down into every strata of our society. I'm not a smoker, but I wouldn't want to be. To buy a carton of cigarettes here is $200 plus, because that's bad for your health, don't you know? And it places a terrible strain on the health system.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, it's fine.
I was married to a Canadian gal. She lived in Calgary. And yeah. And this is when I was living in Montana, and we got married. And so she'd come, across the border every weekend. And I was waiting on getting a CITES permit for my parrot because they wouldn't let me through without it, even though I had a green monk Quaker parrot, which is not on the endangered species list anywhere. But But anyway, she would come down to visit me, and the border guys on our side got to know her pretty well. Oh, you're going to go see your husband there in Shelby, huh? She'd go, yeah. She'd bring me Tim Hortons. She'd bring me pizza, you know, with all kinds of meats and stuff that you're not supposed to bring across. But they'd just say, yep, go ahead. If it's for him, go ahead. And yet she was going back to Canada one time, and the Canadian side stopped her and tore her vet totally apart. And of course, they tore the hell out of her radio and stuff. And they're like, whoops, we don't have to pay for it.
Yes, same here. They don't have to fix the damage they make. And I don't take that very, very well.
No. You tear it up, you buy it.
Yeah, that's it. If it's break it, it's yours. Answering Thomas O'Sullivan's question, I've never been a smoker, Thomas, so I'm only guessing from what I've seen. You get 4 packets in a carton here, and I think they're either 40 or 50 cigarettes per packet, and that's about $205, I think. That's going from my foster daughter's grandfather. He's nearly 90. Smoked like a chimney all his life, and I take her up to see him once a fortnight, and he was telling me he's in a care facility. That's what he pays. So yeah, that's it. And yeah, Brad, good old education, Queensland. Start indoctrinating at an early age, and they're used to it. Yeah, okay, Dennis, we got you. I'll just mute you next time. Do a Claude.
Yeah, she was telling me I should stop
my
smoking.
headphones to switch over. Damn.
I don't know. You just ain't got no couth, Dennis. No couth at all.
There. Now I can hear. Thanks.
Oh, there's 2 Dennises. Just when we thought it couldn't get worse.
But I got my good camera on now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've got your splash screen. Your splash screen we've got of you.
Oh, that was good.
That's what they say. Minute in the mouth and a lifetime on the hips.
It's paid for then. It's paid for and it's mine.
That's it. Like you say, mate, you've got to eat, and especially as your life is moving around a lot, I would imagine that cooking for yourself is not high on the practicalities.
No, and if you see, I don't know if you can see the room I'm in. It's like a studio, but it's not, because I don't have my own bathroom. I share a bathroom with another guy. A couple of people actually.
From this angle, it looks all right, but I'm a fairly private sort of guy. I don't think I'd like to be sharing a bathroom.
Well, I just treat it like college. I have like a little thing that I carry my bathroom stuff to the bathroom with, and then I bring it back to my room when I'm done. You know what I mean? And it works.
Yeah, look, I'm pretty antisocial, I have to admit, Dennis. I don't like strangers much, and they generally don't like me much either.
I can see that.
Yeah, tact is another one of your strong points too, eh?
I use it up all at work, so bear with me.
Speaking to asshole doctors.
Pretty much. Don't get me wrong, the patients could be really messed up too. So
look,
look at that, look at them, beautiful. Like, you think I'm too white? Let's get some color in here. I want to look pretty for you. So
I'm not even touching that. Too white. That's not a comment that I like.
Just regarding my Spanish heritage.
Yeah, I'm afraid my mother's side were from Germany, and dad's side were from Ireland, and before that from Scandinavian somewhere. They arrived like a lot of people did in Ireland, wading ashore in the 10th century or before from longships.
Prison ships.
No, yeah, look, one of Dad's relations came over in the First Fleet, 1788, First Fleeter.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had another one come over about 1800, transported again. And then another one about 1855, I think it was, towards the end of the transportation period. That was something to do with the sheep. I'm assuming it was theft of a sheep, because if it was anything else, they would have been sent to New Zealand. Sheep shaggers.
I think they're sheep stealing sheep
No,
shaggers.
yeah, the New Zealanders, that's what we call them, sheep shaggers. There's more sheep in New Zealand than there's people. You know, we say the average Kiwi has a girlfriend named Barbara.
Barbara.
Brad's
So I
like,
don't think you were sick before my webcam came. How does it look? Is it bad? I mean,
no, it's good.
You have to look at me.
It's good. What did you get?
And you should some cheap $20 thing off of Amazon, but it's 1080.
It's not a bad cheap. Well, I'm only broadcasting in 720 currently because, well, two reasons: because I was set up for the poor link, and B, also because YouTube doesn't handle anything over 720 from my knowledge.
Well, I'm probably streaming at it, and then I have all kinds of I buy these things. I get these ideas, and I buy like cheap little things. Like one of the things that I have here on the lights right now to make it is one of these fold up soft boxes, like a little that you put on a flash.
Yep.
So I have this sitting on top of my Loom cubes, like so that's
yeah, it gives a much better.
It's giving me a nice soft light, and it's controllable from. He's talking to his pussy. Nice. So I can get real bright if I want. Too bright, of course.
If you just heard somebody swearing like a trooper, that's my brother. I'd better go and see what he's dropped. Back shortly.
I'll be right back too.
I'll be here unpacking my crap. I'm all by myself. Thank you, God.
Lars.
Oh crap! What happened? The light went out. That's better.
Okay. Yes, he dropped the new bed on his foot. He's constructing. I told him to wait for me, but no, he doesn't want to do that. So, all right. I can adjust my video quality to limit my bandwidth. I think I'll leave it alone.
Remember. Yeah, it's working. It's working better than it normally does. I would leave it.
Way better. Way better. I looked at the YouTube feedback of myself and was truly stunned by the scope of my ugliness.
We could identify you in a lineup now.
Yeah, that's bad. I'm actually, being Australian, and I come from the piss with it till it breaks school of technical expertise. I'm going to try bumping it up to 1080 and see what happens. Okay.
Well, it looks good, and you'll just use up more bandwidth.
Yeah,
so
well,
I would wait till next time you tried it. That way, you have you know what the difference will be when you check the bandwidth, how much you used tonight, and then compare it to the night you used 1080. You'll know the difference.
That is true.
I mean? Setting a baseline was probably a good idea.
I did check what my video was before I started, but yeah, so I don't seem to have the ability to output more than 1280 by 720 in my stream anyway. So that's neither here nor there. I actually did just bump it to 1080 in one of my settings. I don't know whether it's affected my feed any. I'll change it back in a minute anyhow, but I have a feeling I'm still streaming in 720. It's yeah, 720 is the most that YouTube supports anyway. So
Gotcha. Wow, my room's a mess. Everything's a mess.
well, I live with 4 kids, Dennis. So the term a mess is relative.
Well, when I work, I don't clean up after myself. You know what I mean? I come home, I go to sleep, I wake up, I go back to work. You know, for a couple of nights, and then so everything just kind of sits where it falls. When I wake up tomorrow, or even tonight, I might, once I get some energy. Although I feel pretty good right now. I'll probably start sorting everything out.
Well, you've probably got your second win. You know, when you do take time to rest, you'll crash.
Yeah. Well, you know, I did have a fine hamburger.
Yes,
So.
we had noticed that. I should, no jokes aside, I'll probably be treated to a meal at a fast food of my joint later of my choice later on today. I did some guitar lessons over the weekend for a child of a friend of mine, and they generally take because I won't take money, and they said, "Oh well, I'll take you out for lunch," which is what they normally do. So this week I'll get treated somewhere along the way.
Gotcha.
I'm just looking at myself here in the stream. It's amazing now that I'm in HD, because I'm not one for looking in mirrors or anything. I shave by feel and all this sort of thing. I'm amazed at how grey I've gone over the last couple of years. That's what happens. Actually, it's not grey. Redheads go white. We don't go grey.
There's grey hair for you.
Yeah. Well, I don't have too much in my head, but the old beard, I'm looking at that and going, wow. I'll start calling me Venerable Sir soon. So, Dennis, you've got the next 4 days off, well, 1 day of recovery and 3 days off. What are your plans when you get some time for yourself?
Well, since I've known you, it's been raining here. And today was the first day I saw blue sky in a while. And it's supposed to be nice the next couple of days. So I'm going to take another attempt at Mount Hood, which I don't know if you saw that video I posted a couple of days ago, where there's a shot I want to get where there's this lake called Trillion, whatever. I know how to get there. That's all that matters. And it's got a beautiful reflection of the mountain behind it. So I'm going to try to go back there, and then I'm going to get all the drone people all upset because I'm going to go out there with a long pole and my 360 camera and make it look like I'm flying a drone in a national park when they see the video.
Well, here we're allowed to do that. We can fly in national parks in Queensland as long as we don't take off and land. And hello, Mark. Well, yeah. There's a link for you, Mark. I don't have working email at the moment, but if you would like to join us, the link's in chat. Yeah, out here we can, but in the southern states, not so much. And although technically, from what I've learned in my training as a remote pilot, they can't really stop you, but you know what it's like. There's lots of things that you can do, but it's probably not worth pushing the point.
I hear that.
And it's like telling your rights to a cop. You might be right, and but after they truncheon you to the floor and drag you off in handcuffs, it doesn't do you a lot of good.
This is true. But
I had that discussion with a few people over the years that I've had to sort out.
No, you save that for the judge. You don't.
Yeah. Oh, look, funnily enough, the only time I've ever really argued with the police is since I've been flying drones, because the local police have literally no idea and they have no jurisdiction. And I have had them turn up a couple of times, and first thing I do is I establish my bona fides and tell them, look, I'm a CASA certified remote pilot, and if you just wait until I put the drone down, I'll get my documentation for you, and they will wait for that. And then I pull it out, and then when they seen that, I said, now look, not trying to be funny, but I'm more aware of the drone regulations than you are, and I know that you aren't, and I know that you're not trained, and I know that you don't have jurisdiction. It's a Commonwealth law. Let me tell you what the law states. And in about 7 out of the 8 cases, they took my word for it, went on their way. In the 8th case, I just had to call up the legislation on my iPad and show him, and he took it and went on his way.
Yeah, I've only been approached by the twice while flying, and the first time they came by, they started talking to me, and I said, "Well, you're distracting me from watching my bird." And I said, "If you want, if you'll wait just a minute, let me land my bird. I'll show you all my documentation." Yada yada yada. So they stood there and watched me fly, and oh, what's that up there? That's how many satellites I have. What's this over here? That's the distance of this. So they were asking me all kinds of questions, you know. So I was answering their questions, and then when I landed, I always carry a copy of the drone laws and the Missouri state drone laws. And so I showed them my registration. I said, "This is my tail number. You know, this is my registration number. I'm not a 107 yet, but I'm working on it." And so they're like, "Well, you know what the hell you're doing, man." So
Yep.
have at it. Then they stood there and watched me fly for a couple more minutes. Hey, Mark.
Yep.
Hey, how's
Mark.
it going, guys? How are you
How are you
guys
doing?
doing? I'm doing well, thanks.
You're looking tired, if you don't mind me saying so.
I'm actually relaxed. I've been off, and I have a couple more days off, so I plan on enjoying that. So,
Oh, that's good. That's really good. Not often you
Yeah.
get time off during the school semester.
no. So, yeah, you've been
I was
on for a
watching-
couple hours. I saw you. You went on earlier, and I was kind of indisposed at that time, and I was glad to see you were still on when I got back on the computer. So, doing a marathon. Doing a marathon tonight?
No, I don't think it'll go that long. I haven't got enough data to do that. I'm running off the 4G link, which is why the video is better than usual. But I had Dennis and Mason come in and keep me company. So when you've got good company, the time goes by. It only drags when you're trying to make conversation. I was watching your videos that you've posted in the last few days because I fell a while behind. I was in bed sick. I have to say, and I'm not. I'm not one of your students. No margin in me crawling. Your flying has come along incredibly in just the last 4 weeks.
Dude, I appreciate that. Thank you. I owe a lot of that to Louis P. Floyd. I told you he's been actually tutoring me more or less on that. So he's been giving me a lot of pointers, and it's been going a long way. So, and I've been practicing, so it's been a lot of fun too.
Oh, well, I watched the one where you hit the bush near your house at the end of it. When I started watching, and you started off with a couple of loops, and I went, "Oh, yeah!" And then a bit further in, you did a barrel roll. I thought, "Oh, we're showing off now, aren't we?"
And then, well, yeah, I promised everybody as I was getting into it that I'd show my successes and definitely my failures. So I'm trying to make good on that promise, and I'm also trying to make sure that I think a couple of videos I edited like good shots and stuff, and I said that's not fair. I said I gotta film a pack from beginning to end, whether it's good or bad, and post it as is. And I just posted another one tonight, just like that. So it started off really good and ended not bad, but no damage. But it wasn't a pretty landing. Let's put it that way.
I can hear you. Look, that's one good thing about the FPV stuff is you can post an entire pack and it's not horrendously long. You couldn't do that with your Phantom 4 or your Mavic.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, that one where I got stuck in the tree, I warned everybody it was kind of long, but it kind of had a story to it. So I said, you want to stick around and watch me knock a drone out of a tree with a stick, have at it.
Welcome to the stream, Gary, Brand Aerials. I'll throw it in there again. I reckon we can go one more on the panel. I can sit here and shut up for a while. There's a link if you want to join us, Gary.
I can jump that far.
No, that's fine. I'm happy enough with 4 or 5. It's only when you get up to the 6 or 7 that I think it starts to become a little bit unmanageable. So that's good. And I can have a chance of doing a Roger and sit here and let you guys go now.
What's a Roger?
Roger, he runs Canadian Drone Hub, and he's the guy I cut my teeth in his channel, and he's very good in the respect that he'll get a good panel going, and then he sits back for the entire stream, and if you hear 5 words out of him, that's a good night.
Well, it's far better than the streams where you got a jar of weed sitting there and a clear cookie jar, and everybody's staring at it with nobody talking.
No, not for me.
I couldn't believe that the night I saw that. I tuned into a guy that used to come to Canadian Drone Hub. His name was Hash Info, and he's a legal pot grower and seller in Montreal. I literally went to his live stream, and it was literally a glass cookie jar with buds in it and a camera trained on it, and that's it. And there were 50 people watching. And and I stayed there for 3 minutes just to see if the numbers would change. No, I'm like, it's going to change now because I'm out. I'm like, I can't believe
they must have all been stoned.
Or drooling over it or something. I don't know, but
that's all right, Gary. It's not a problem, mate. We'll see when we see you. His family's in Texas visiting. All right. We call them the outlaws here because you don't want them for in-laws. No one's answering the phone. Don't you love that? That's it. I hate that with my kids. I tell them, always answer your phone. I'd rather have the bad news than no news.
So we got Nacho on here. We got you. And who's the other gentleman?
We've got Mason.
Oh, Mason. Hey, how's it going, Mason? I don't know if I've ever seen you on the stream before. So good to meet you. Yeah, I was going to say, nice to meet you face to face, so to speak.
And the same here. Yeah, I really like your videos.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I have fun doing them.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how all that FPV stuff works. I mean, doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, I gotta admit, when I'm done flying, I don't know if it's nerves, adrenaline, or both, but my hands are shaking by the time I'm done.
Okay, Gary, how are you?
Hey, Gary, how's it going?
Doing great. Doing great. I've never been able to hear so many people in a chat. Usually 2 people in, and that's it. I'm done.
That's good.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, I think I got everybody this time.
Yeah, that's good to hear. Obviously, I've got a far better link than I normally do. And I do take on board what you said, Mark. I find that I used to get that a lot when I was flying the helis. I would land after 15 minutes and I would be shaking and a ball of sweat. I don't find that's the case with the camera drones because they virtually fly themselves.
Yeah,
I'm expecting it again when I go over to FPV.
Yeah, it's fun though. It's a lot of fun. I don't regret it, but I think I don't know if I made mention of this to you. I think I did it on Roger's channel. One of my goals is to eventually post a video that might be about 5-10 minutes long, but it's going to essentially be a breakdown of my financial how should I say investment into this, and piece by piece, part by part. And if that doesn't scare you away from FPV, then it's the right hobby for you.
Oh, it can't be any more expensive than my camera drones have been, and you're a bit like me, Mark. Nothing exceeds like excess.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it adds up, and it constantly adds up. And this is another thing that I've been told not to do, but I'm doing it anyway. I got this little box here, and these are all my broken parts and burnt pieces for posterity, and I might just total those up too.
Yeah, I heard about that from I think it was Justin Hadley.
Yeah, he's like, don't do it.
Well, he's got that many. It's probably not so bad for him because I get the impression that most of his expenditure these days is sponsored. But obviously, he wouldn't have been when he first started. It'd be
no. But I've been told by quite a few people that if I hadn't done the work on the sim, that I'd have at least 4 or 5 of those boxes filled by now. So I got to count my lucky stars on that.
Well, I'm going in with exactly 0 hours on the sim. I've decided not to. I've got my purchase link, my purchase list done up here. It's going to be a Mob 7 HD and a Tyrannus Q7, and I'm still hopping between 1 or 2 sets of goggles. But my full outlay, just in that respect, not including battery packs, is going to be about $790 Australian, and I've already got a $600 charger, and I'll probably buy 10 or 15 packs. They're pretty cheap.
Yeah, it sounds about right. So,
props off. Welcome to the channel, sir. There's a wrench for you.
Props off. He came to one of my streams and it was a big help one night with some of my issues I had on one of my builds. It's a good guy.
Yeah, as I said to you before, Mark, I'm not hugely interested in building.
Nope, and I totally understand that. And I got to say, I'm the fixing part is starting to get a little stale too.
Yeah, look, I know I can if I need to. I don't have to prove
Yeah.
anything to myself, and
Right.
I know that it's considered to almost be a rite of passage in the FPV community to build your own, roll your own. I'm not planning on being a dedicated FPV flyer. I just want to be able to talk to the guys who are on some sort of an even footing. So you can't give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
You still awake, Dennis?
I am still awake. I'm just playing with some footage from the other day, so you guys can see what I was talking about. Like if you see the mountain, that's Mount Hood in the background, and this lake is beautiful.
What are you riding?
Nice and smooth. BMW.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
So I want to get like pretty much here and fake the drone with a long pole and the 360 camera, because it's technically a national park and I can't fly there. I just want to hear people, but I'm going to video myself doing it. So like, once they all make asses of themselves, I can post the video and go, yeah, see.
Props off. He said he's debating whether he likes fixing more than flying. When you've worked as a technician, building is vastly overblown. As a hobby, probably good.
Yeah.
Guys, chat with yourselves for a minute again. I'm going to check on my brother again to make sure he hasn't wrecked the place.
I'll tell you, Mark, I'm going to give you full props for going into the FPV thing. I'm just full of camera drone, got the Mavic Air, flying it. All the certifications are all done now, and just happy to be able to get up in the air. And
yeah. No, I mean, I haven't given up on my camera drones. I took the Mavic 2 up a couple of weeks ago. I still have to post the footage, but I'm in the process of updating my computer because it's sluggish at the moment. Just put a new processor in it, so I can only do very small clips with very little rendering necessary. So I'll be doing more of that with the better quality pictures probably in about a week or so. I got some memory and another hard drive coming in, because I just maxed my computer out completely. So
yeah, my thing is I edit the stuff down to nothing. I had 2 full packs over a pond, and I edited it down to 1 minute.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, yeah, there's certain things that I've been learning about editing. I'm no pro. I mean, it's different. I've learned that with FPV that if you're gonna do that, you're kind of cheating if you're like splicing in all your good maneuvers and cutting out all your duffs and your crashes. So, the idea is to start a pack and end a pack, and that's your video. So it's very easy editing. But when you're doing something a bit more cinematic, you got to have the count. It's like every 5 or 6 seconds you got to change scenes because of the psychology of losing interest and make sure you got your B-roll down. It's a lot more involved. So I got the video I did today. I think it took me 10 minutes to do and 10 minutes to render, and onto YouTube it went, because again, you don't do anything with the raw footage. It is what it is, because they want to see from beginning to end all your successes and potential failures.
Have you seen Paul Murray's stuff with the ships?
Oh, absolutely. He's got some great stuff with the ships.
But he does that in one clip.
Yeah, he's a very, very good pilot. He's got a nice. I wouldn't call it a recipe, but he's got a style, and he's got a system about how he approaches those boats. So he's got it down, because he, if I'm not mistaken, he catches it in the channel at the right spot, same spot, and he's got his pattern down, and it's very graceful. He does a great job.
Well, the thing is, it's a 3-minute clip, but the scene changes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that smooth.
Yeah, he's good with it. He's very good with it.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to do something like that, but I don't know. Yeah. The other thing I'm doing now is I had a neighbor approach me, and they said they're tearing a house down.
Oh, really?
So I said, when's it coming down? She said, in June. So I was over there yesterday, and I just banked that footage, and I'll have sort of a before and after as it comes down, because I've taken it from all vantage points and a nice sweeping like a sweeping orbit of the place. So stick that in the bank, and we'll have something at the end of June, maybe.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now, Propsov says, I cheated on my last rescue drone video. 2 minutes of saving lions, babies, and drones. LOL, I put it out for attention deficit syndrome. I'm curious. He's got my interest peaked. And then Drone Kings uses the Lychee waypoints. I've never tried the waypoints on the Mavic yet. I know that they've updated the software. I just haven't tried it. I've updated it since then, but I haven't tried the waypoints yet.
No, I haven't used anything but DJI Go 4.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they have the waypoints on the Go 4 app now too, I think. So
yeah.
for certain things, but I haven't tried it.
No, I haven't either.
The Typhoon H that I fly has something called curved cable cam, and you can actually, there's an app online that you can do kind of a waypoint program and put it into the curved cable cam. But essentially with curved cable cam, you send it out on a mission and you record the points, and then you bring the bird home, and then you start it again, and it goes, it's automated. And then all you have to do is use the right stick to control your gimbal for capturing the video as it's moving along, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. It's almost like the camera operator thing they have with the Matrice, right? One guy the other guy's film.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially, you're the drone pilot to capture the waypoints. Then you set it off automatically, and then you become the sensor operator or whatever they call it, and you capture the video that way. I've done it a couple times. It's pretty easy to do. It's neat.
Yeah, I very rarely use any of the automated stuff, and probably a good thing I don't, because when I did the flight review, which we have to do now in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they don't let you do that, do they?
Oh no automatic takeoff, no automatic landing. They make you fly in ADI mode.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, a little exciting. Doing our thing and
yeah. Well, congratulations. I think I may have said it before, but let me say it again. You did get your advanced, right?
Yeah.
That's good, man. That's good. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, I don't know that a lot of people have done it. It's so new.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the states to come up with that version of having to demonstrate proficiency. I'm not opposed to it. I know that some people get angry at the fact that they have to do that, because it is, you're spending more money and FAA is making more money. But if it's going to add credibility to the commercial aspect of drones, then have at it.
Yeah. Well, this flight review, Transport Canada doesn't see any of that money. That's just a private contractor that they, he's passed the test to become a flight reviewer. He charges me $200, and Transport Canada doesn't see that. He sends a report to Transport Canada. I give them $20, and they give me the advanced thing once passed on.
I'm pretty sure the FAA would have a slice of that at some point. So.
Well, and they're all set up with places where you take the exam and all that stuff.
You have to go to a certified exam, and it's usually at an airport, where they have flight schools or something, and you pay them, and I'm sure that they pay a certain percentage to the FAA, and part of that is for processing. I don't have to pay anything directly to the FAA. My certification is goes through them. So.
Yeah. Well, they charge us $10 to take the test.
Oh, they charge. Yeah,
they charge us. And book and.
Yeah, they charge us over $100 to take the test on the computer.
Well, I had to take the test 4 times to pass it. So.
Well, is that for the advanced though? I think yours is a bit more rigorous than our 107. When you're going for your advanced, it might be a bit more rigorous. So.
Well, we talked to the flight reviewer about that, and he said he agreed, and he's talked to Transport Canada about it. They have questions on there, and you can't really discuss the questions in detail, but what are the effects of drinking if you're at 6,000 feet?
Oh,
I don't get to go to 6,000 feet.
Well, especially since you're not on the drone and you're not allowed to fly at 6,000
well, that's right.
feet.
And what downdraft do you expect in a cumulonimbus cloud at 12,000 feet?
What?
Yeah.
Okay, again, I'm not flying my drone at 12,000 feet, so why do I care?
Yeah, we get all that.
You know, like the questions were beautiful. You know,
Yeah.
if you're on the taxiway and you see 4 red bars, what do you have to do? Well, if
Not
I'm
gonna
on
be.
if I'm on a
We get all
taxiway, I'm going to be packing up and going home.
what kind of breeze would
I'm going to be getting handcuffs on.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of it was wild, and that's why I think it takes most people 4 or 5 times to pass this test.
Right.
we get all the same? You know, what sort of breezes do you expect onshore in the morning, and what is a land breeze, and explain the mechanics and cumuloform clouds and blah blah blah, the whole box and dice, and you know, what are the 2 effects of aileron input and blah blah blah, kind of things that you really don't need for a drone pilot. But I passed my first time round, according to the training providers up over here, and I think that our regime's pretty close to Canada.
Yeah.
They say that to expect to spend 40 hours in study. I spent about half that, but I already had a good background in it, so that was all right.
Yeah. Well, Paul Hodges, that took the thing with me, he had been a certified pilot. He was a pilot at one point, and he still had trouble struggling through the drone test.
Yep. But mind you, a lot of the stuff that you learn, you might learn all of that to be a pilot, but you only retain that which you actively use. And I call them 90-10 tests. In other words, 90% of the people will only ever use 10% of what they learn, and perhaps 10% of the people might use 90%. So the majority of people, after 5 or 6 years, a lot of it's escaped them.
Yeah. Well, I think having passed all these tests, I'm a more confident flyer. The other day I was up, there was 30-kilometer-an-hour winds, which I never would have flown in before. I was up there and the drone was rock steady. I don't know why I've missed all of these flights because of weather, you know?
Yeah, I find the drones are like that. My brother, I taught him to fly last week or week before, and he's always he's been my ground crew for a long time. He always harps on about the wind speed, and I'm always saying to him, don't worry about it. And of course, after he flew the other week, I then said to him, well, you see why it's not an issue with a GPS drone? Essentially, there's a maximum speed that you shouldn't fly above, but anything up to and including that is fine, because the onboard systems will manage it for you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did notice I saw props for the first time in my in my camera. I was into some pretty heavy headwind there.
Oh yeah, so the camera's staying steady, but the drone's doing its little wobble to stay where it needs to be. Yeah.
That's why I always laugh when people are arguing. They have these big debates over what's the steadiest drone, and my answer is, who cares? The gimbal will sort that out for you.
Exactly.
The one still in the case.
You probably you just keep editing your video there.
Yeah, this is something I did in the desert not too long ago, of the Galactic Center.
That's gorgeous.
I'm just trying to. I wish it was better. It's made me want to buy a real camera body, because I have all this great glass at home, but I don't travel with it. And I think if I had a body, I've missed some great star shots during the fall. You see, this 360 camera is just too noisy. I was actually going to go out. I missed the new moon, so. But there'll be another one coming around soon. Actually, I should check that. It should be real soon. No, I might have come up with a plan now.
Well, yeah, was it you who was saying in one of the streams the other day that you did have a good camera body, but you sold it because you weren't using it enough?
Yeah, it was depreciating so rapidly that I just figured I'd better get rid of it, because literally the $6,000 body was down to like only worth a few $100s at this point. And I was like, wow. So I didn't even sell it. I gave it away to one of my kids that used to work for me, so she can use it.
I've done that.
And she has it's for the money I was going to get for it. I'd rather give it to, because she learned to shoot on that camera, and it means a lot to her. And then you know what she did? She went out and bought one of my big lenses. She spent $4,000 on one of my big lenses. So hey, happily, I'm glad I gave it to her now. So.
Yeah, I hear you. I've done it so many times in my life, sold something up because I'm never going to use it again, and then 6 months down the track gone, damn, I wish I still had that.
Well, that paid for my Mavic Pro, to be honest with you. The lens, the sale of that lens paid for my Mavic Pro. So it paid for my Mavic Pro, it paid for my back, it paid for, bought all my stuff. The one lens sale paid for everything I travel with.
I'm trying to decide what I'm going to sell to buy my new Inspire. My daughter is top of the list currently.
Don't sell the daughter. You'd sell it at Philly.
Yeah, look, I don't think I'd get much for the initial sale, but he'd have to pay me through the nose to take her back.
Take back. Yeah. What am I looking for? Oh, that's right. I wanted to look for the stars. I was like, I'm looking at my iPad going, I spent more time trying to remember what I meant to do than I didn't actually doing it anymore. I might be stupid. All right. So, according to the next new moon, no. Oh, it's not until the 17th.
What state are you in again, Mark?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm in New York State.
Okay, Google. When is the next new moon in New York State?
Sorry, I can't help with that yet.
Well, a fat lot of good you are then.
Nacho, Juneau County droner, Rob Stanton wants to know what camera you're using for that shot.
This is the Insta360.
Insta360.
Insta360 1X, I should say. I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's
all right.
The
next new
camera.
moon. Oh, that's past. So yeah.
I did say hello to
new moon.
My mistake. I did say hello to Drone Effects with Claude in the chat, and I did put a link there, Claude, if you want to join us.
2019.
Ooh.
New moon is
I had it wrong. June 3rd. June 3rd. I was looking at the full moon, not new moon. So yeah, it's June 3rd here.
Yeah.
So my watch is not working. Oh, I went dead. So when is that? June 3rd. It's a Monday, which means I'll be off. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go camp at Mount Hood and do this shot on that lake with Mount Hood in the background.
That'd be nice.
I'll try it with the GoPro. My Fusion used to do much better night shots than the Insta360. But it didn't. It didn't. So I'll have I have the Hero 7, so I can give that a try too, I guess.
So with a new moon,
so
dark sky, right?
Yes, black sky. So you can get a lot of stars. So then I'll do that, and then I have another software that I'm looking at now, which is a light pollution map. So I can find a spot, and I'll see if that spot that I like has much light pollution. I don't think it does, because it's the middle of a national park, and it's like 50 miles outside of town. So I can't find the software because I'm tired. My brain's not working.
His brain hurts.
My brain hurts. Oh, there it is. That was loud.
Props off. If the message was retracted, that's usually due to your own deleting the message itself. If it was hidden by one of us because it was inappropriate or something, it would say something totally different. But you might have accidentally retracted it yourself. That's what I recall.
All right. So I'm trying to find it. And well, that's Idaho. Idaho's not that far away. Jeez, that gives me something to think about. Yeah, so I'm looking on the map, and I can't show you because it's on the iPad. Not forest. So yeah, it's a dark area. I should be fine. Not too much noise pollution. There it is. Yeah, it's not the darkest that they show on the map, but it's definitely in the neighborhood. It's like one level out of the darkest. So it'll be good.
It's amazing how that sky gets washed out as soon as cars pass by.
Well, it's getting darker. This is also like 4 hours of video. So, not 4 hours. It's like 2 hours of video. Fast forwarding, frame time lapse.
Yeah.
I do like my time lapse. I like my motion. I like my time lapse. That's the only thing I like my whatchamacallit for, the Osmo Pocket. If somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I'll trade you pretty much anything for it," I would probably take it.
You don't like the Osmo Pocket?
It's a fine. It's okay, but it just doesn't fit what I do.
Yeah,
it just doesn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. You can get some nice pictures, but it's everything else I have.
It seems more like a vlogging camera to me. You know what I mean? People who are gonna.
Oh, I disagree.
You do? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a crappy vlogging camera.
Oh, okay. But I mean, the style of camera it is, the size and portability.
See, when you do something like this is from the. I'm pretty sure this is from. Let's see.
I mean, the 360 cameras are amazing.
Right, but like this is definitely not the 360 camera. This is from the Osmo Pocket.
Okay.
So so it's doing a time lapse, but it's also slowly panning.
Oh, that's cool.
So this is what this is the only thing where I'm happy I have it. I take it out, but it's the only thing I use it for.
Mm-hmm.
But when I get someplace nice, when I'm flying and I'm doing everything else, I always have the Osmo Pockets spiked to the ground. I have a tripod spike.
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably use it for lawn lights, but whatever. That's what I use, and I stick it somewhere where so I'm not in it, and I let it do its thing. And I'm happy I do. But
if I lived in the US, Dennis, if I lived in the US, I'd swap you my daughter for it.
Yeah, they probably have rules. Look at this one. This one's
rules.
Rules about that stuff. Yeah. See, here's me. I'm getting all my flying. I'm getting my stuff set up, and it's just. And then the Osmo Pocket does its thing. But the thing is, the Insta360 does this really well too. The pictures are sharper.
Yeah.
Look at the size of me. Holy crap. Don't we know I got that freaking fat. Freezing my ass off at the beach. Well, it was January. But yeah, I like it for that. I really, really like it for that. I have to watch these once in a while just to remember. But I was trying to show you guys a video the other day that I couldn't find, where I was flying along the water and I just hit the top of a wave. I love to fly slow, and I still haven't been able to find it.
I would never fly that low over water. I fly a lot over water. I know some people who won't. I have no problems with flying over water, but not that low.
I was the same way. I felt the same exact way, but I think I honestly I think I wanted to crash my drone so I could upgrade, and I started getting really dangerous, and then I got used to it, because like my wife she knows how much she loves the drone too now, because I've done all these roof inspections for her restaurants with it, and like every time I come home, she's got like 3 or 4 drone jobs for me. So she's like, if something happens to it, she's all about me just buying another one, so which is great.
Nice.
These are all from.
Yeah, nice.
These are all from. I love night photography, and again, the Osmo Pocket, it does okay there too. It's just there's the Insta360 sitting on the bottom. I have a lot of silly toys, but it's funny. All my camera gear now fits in a lunch bag, like a small lunch bag, compared to like just taking one DSLR out. So.
Oh yeah,
actually, this one.
Sorry,
that was not the Osmo. I could see the light stitching from the 360. So this is the Insta360 on this. But yeah, I love the motion time lapse. This is the GoPro Hero 7. still strapped to my bike. I just left it on the bike and just let it do its thing while I was doing everything else. Yeah, it's just, it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, I'm gonna head off now. I just appreciate Ari, you let me pop in like this.
I appreciate you dropping in, Mark. Thank you.
No problem, no problem. So, guys, take care and have a good night. And Propsoft says, "What's your FPV setup? Drone goggles, transmitter." Okay, I'll answer that question before I go. I use a Tyrannus QX7. My goggles are the Fat Sharks Dominator. 3rd edition or 3, I guess, and it's got the diversity set up as well. That's pretty much it. It was all recommendations from everybody on these channels as to what I should be using. So if I had not have gotten the Fat Sharks, I probably would have gotten the what did I call those things? The shoot, I can't think of them now. They're box goggles. I can't think of the name of them now. I know that Drone Pool uses them. I don't know. I can't think of them right now, but they're a lot less expensive, but they're box goggles. But I'm very happy with the Fat Sharks. So
I'm thinking about going from
the Vipers. Yeah, that's it. The Vipers. So
I'm thinking
okay.
Not from expenditure, but just from convenience.
Yeah. So okay. With that said, gentlemen, have a good night. Everybody in chat, take care.
Thank you, Mark. Take care.
Thanks, Mark.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye. Later, Mark.
Did I see a railway line running along the beach there, Dennis?
I think it was. Look how fat I am. Holy crap. I started to remember why I stopped making videos. I took a break because I got tired of seeing myself in them.
I never get in my own videos. I hate seeing myself on film.
Well,
I always wear dark clothes and stand under a tree.
Well, when I do my videos, I'm generally, technically speaking, in shot at least once in each length before I stitch them together.
I might have to do this week. Do more of these. The flying back through the trees and stuff.
Yeah, I saw you comment.
There's a lot of great trees here.
That looks like it.
And let me guess, because you wanted to wreck your drone, you couldn't?
Pretty much. Pretty much. I'm saying I wanted to. It's just that I'm not as worried about it because mine is perfect. I mean, it is perfect condition. It's beautiful and perfect, and I love it. But I want to upgrade, but I can't bring myself to do it. It just doesn't seem worth it.
What are you going to buy when you do?
I would buy not the Zoom, but the Mavic 2 because I like it. It does better low light, and that's the thing that I like to do the most.
Well, if I didn't have the Phantom 4, then perhaps the Pro would have been on my list. But as I've got 2 Phantom 4s with the 1-inch, well, allegedly 1-inch sensor and the 20 megapixel camera, if I want to fill that slot, I do it with the Phantom. And I've got the Zoom as well so that I can go both ways.
I'm digging my drone now. Digging. Okay. I love my drone. You guys are going to cringe when you see how I keep my drone. But... All right. Oh, I'll have to turn it off. All right. All right. So here's my drone, my Mavic.
Yep.
Your typical Chinese cheap-ass case. Because I keep it in my bike. I used to keep all the stuff in one bag, but I find that on a motorcycle, with the way I travel, having everything spread out a little bit actually works out better, fits in the nooks and crannies. I've gone through so many of these stupid the domes that breaking the domes that I've just stopped bothering. I have this gimbal guard that covers the lens and with the filter on.
As long as you've got the gimbal immobilized in some manner or other, I don't think it really matters.
I agree. And people argued with it, but people like to buy shit. People like to talk shit they don't really know. Excuse me.
Look,
I'm
all for taking precautions to increase the life of your gear, but a lot of people buy for what we call pose value.
Yeah, well, see, that's another thing. I'm trying to avoid, like, the keep up with the Joneses thing that goes on with.
See, now this bag here, this little bag fits in half of my saddlebag on my bike, and it's got my drone, my 3 batteries, the remote, all the documentation, all my licenses, checklists, spare props. It's all.
This is the bag I used to go to lunch with, and it'll carry everything you said: all 3 batteries, my drone, my 360 cameras, my multiple mounts that I have to mount my 360 cameras to this.
Yeah.
I mean, I know but there's not a scratch on this thing, and it's like to get rid of it, to get something else. When I've been all over the place with this thing. You know what I mean? I even have my numbers nice and clean on the matching gold. I mean, you can't light it, right?
I can see it.
It's pretty. It's pretty. I just hate to, we've gone through a lot. It just seems wrong.
If I had a Mavic Pro or a Mavic Pro Platinum, I could not really justify upgrading to a Mavic 2. When people say to me, if they've got no drones at all, and they ask you, should I buy a Mavic 2, and they're not a commercial operator, I say, yeah, go for it, definitely. But if they've already got a Mavic Pro, I tell them I really wouldn't bother.
I mean, I would love an Inspire, but I could never carry an Inspire with me. It's just like anything else. What you have, the thing you have with you is the thing you use. So.
You would soon fall out of love with an Inspire for your use.
Oh, for my uses, definitely. But I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe down the road, this light's too bright.
You cannot.
Maybe down the road, I will travel in a Jeep, or something 4-wheel drive, because I'm thinking that might be something I do down the road.
Yeah.
And then maybe a bigger drone might be in order, but.
Yeah, a bigger drone, but look, the Inspires, there's 4 or 5 models from Inspire 1 through to Inspire 2, and they say the Inspire 2 version 2 is around the corner. But the vast majority of them only stock a camera the same specifications as your Mavic Pro. If you're flying a late model Inspire 2, you're looking at about $8,000 to $10,000 Australian for your camera on top of the price of the bird. You're looking at I'm talking about real time now, not what they quote on their web pages. You're looking at a real time of 12 to 18 minutes of flight time, depending on bird and battery. And I can tell you something else. The retract gear on those is driven by something called a worm gear, which is only made out of plastic, and it's a fragile part. If you've got an Inspire, which I do, and when you take it, they go into what's called travel mode. The legs pull up halfway between retracted and extended to put in the case. And when you take them out of the case, you need to put them on a flat floor like lino or smooth. If you try and extend the legs while it's sitting on carpet or something that's grippy, you'll strip that worm gear.
Well, I'll never get an Inspire. I mean, I'm just talking. I would rather. Be honest, you know what I'd rather get? It might sound wrong. Is if I felt like spending a lot of money for some reason, which I never do, would be the Enterprise version. But because I always have stuff bolted onto it, I would definitely enjoy making mounts more than just what they do on it. You know what I mean?
I just put the extra work and do it your standard Mavic. The Enterprises have a few limitations which I don't like. The most uppermost is the software that you have to use with the Enterprises. They don't work with Go 4.
Oh, well, I'll just stick to the Mavic then. I'm not that good of a pilot. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can get around. But like if you gave me a quadcopter, I'd crash it like instantly. I had a quadcopter before. I tried it, and I could crash it every single time I flew it.
We're both motorcyclists, so we're pretty much stuck with the Mavics. They can fit in the saddlebag, and you can take them anywhere.
Oh yeah, like say I'll keep this one in the remote in the top box, and then I'll put the extra batteries, extra props, and all that other stuff, and where Yeah, like my top box has power, so I actually keep the batteries up there because I charge whatever ones I'm not using are getting charged. When they need it, and I'll keep props and extra stuff, and like I never use it, but I have because I have an iPad.
I'm glad that you. I'm glad that you. Sorry, Dennis. I'm glad that you clarified that prop topic. I said I'm looking to make a gimbal for my 7-incher. I'm thinking, well, I could do a lot of things with mine, but make a gimbal for it. Then he said to carry his Nikon 5100. So no, I understand. Yes. Oh, you would say Nikon, wouldn't you?
I'd say Canon.
Well, I can't afford industry level DSLRs, but my daughter, my foster daughter, she's an art student, and she's had stuff hung in the gallery last year, and she's 16 now. And when I bought her a DSLR last Christmas, and it was by no means a top of the line or even an expensive one, but it's a workable one, I bought a Canon.
Well, Laurie, I appreciate you asking me, and I've got to go hook up. I'm past my time, and when the dialysis time comes, it lets you know if you go over.
Headache, got a headache and feeling lethargic. I know the story. Mason, look, thank you very much for joining me on the stream. First time round, I'm glad you dropped in with us, and it's been great getting to know you.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Thanks for the first one, buddy. Good stream, as always.
Not a worry. You're welcome in at any time. Take care.
No prostate issues here. He's got a good stream.
Good night, y'all.
Take care.
Too much?
No, it's all good. It's all good.
There's one that I couldn't hear. So.
Oh, you didn't hear Mason? Well, Roger has that issue too, and I've heard some people suggest that it's to do with bandwidth or whatever, but I haven't really heard a workable explanation why that happens.
Yeah, I have the same problem with Mike Roche. He's from Syracuse as well. Lives near Mark. But whenever Mike Roche comes on, I never hear him.
Could be a routing issue then. You just don't know. There's so many things, and you're trying to find out what it is can be so frustrating.
Yeah. No, it's there's some strange electronic things that just don't. At my age, I just go on and do something different.
Selective hearing.
You're always fiddling to find ways around things, and sometimes when you do, you wish you hadn't, or it's not practical. I've enjoyed doing the connection to the 4G this morning, but I didn't enjoy the security issues that Google spammed me. Props off has to put the kids' bedtime. I understand that. All right, take care, my friend.
Yeah, bedtime here. It's 11:30.
It's 8:30 here.
At 11:30, I'm just getting started off with Claude or Roger.
I'm trying to get the pool open this weekend, so we'll be up early with that. So,
well, I suppose it's that time of year, isn't it? It's our summer. I think starts in. I think it's about 10 days. So your winter about the same time. No, other way around. Our winter, your summer. Boy, I'm doing well.
We're coming up to summer.
Yeah. I think it's about 10 days. I said something about it on the news last night. It's getting bright.
Yeah. Our seasons are opposite, but our moon cycles are exactly the same. So.
Okay, Google. What time is it in Ireland?
The time in Ireland is 4:33 a.m.
Oh, there you go. You beat us to it, Thomas.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that yet, but my team is helping me learn.
Okay, Google, stop.
My team is helping me learn is the part that scares me.
The one I like is, okay, Google, did you fart?
You got me. I farted. It was me and definitely not someone else in the room.
She's taking credit for it. Nice.
Okay, Google, did you fart?
I don't smell anything.
Yeah. Okay, Google, will you marry me?
If you're asking if I'm committed to you, the answer is absolutely.
Yes, okay.
Very good.
Trust my kids to find all that sort of stuff, of course.
Now, Thomas O'Sullivan, it's 4:30 a.m. there, so he's east of Ireland.
Well, that's why I asked Google what time it was. But 4:30. I'm GMT plus 10. And so he's about 11 hours behind me, I think. And you guys are, or 9. You guys are 14, 15, and 16, depending on where you are in the US.
5 hours. 5 hours from GMT.
Yeah, GMT minus 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 15 behind me. You're Eastern Daylight Time, I think, aren't you?
Yes.
That's it. Yeah, I was used to working in different time zones because I was a radio ham, but I've been falling out of practice. I'm just getting it all back.
Yeah, I need one of those clocks on the wall that's got the 3 or 4 clocks, you know.
He asks Siri all those kinds of things. My kids go into a shop where the Siri assistant is running, and they'll ask it something like, what's 43,000 to the 10th power, and sit there while it chats to itself for 10 minutes, and the store assistants look at them as if they've grown 2 heads. His Siri is a female Australian. You don't want one of them, mate. Anything worse than a female Australian is a female Kiwi.
Because they're all frustrated because their men are sleeping with the sheep.
No. I used to date a Maori princess, and not that that's as rare as you would think. And I wasn't at all surprised when
you dating or
no either. Well, that was pretty rare. The World Health Organization did a survey last year or the year before that announced that Maori and South Sea Islander women were the most likely to commit domestic violence. And I was not surprised at all.
Yeah.
Okay, there's your channel, Nacho. Hang on a second here. Gotta make sure I've got you already.
It's got a lot of bike stuff, but usually the bike stuff is sprinkled with drone stuff because I'm more of a bike guy than a drone guy. In fact, I'm spending a lot of time with drone guys, considering I'm not really a drone guy. Maybe I should make a drone video this weekend.
You are now.
Okay,
yeah,
I got you now.
You like the way she talks? Do I talk like that? I'm not convinced that I actually sound Australian.
You a little.
Yeah, I mean, I can, obviously, but I don't think I do.
Nacho, I'll be watching your stuff. I just subscribed to your channel. I don't know why I didn't have you before. I have some motorcycle stuff on my channel as well. And the unfortunate part is I go into these charity rides, and then I end up riding in the rides. So the only thing I get is the group that's at the beginning. And I got to get out of that and stop riding the rides and get to some point in the ride and have the bikes go by. So
that might be a good idea. Oh, so who's Juneau County Droner? Is that Juneau, Alaska that he's in?
No, that's Juneau County is in the Midwest. That's Robert Stanton.
That's right.
Gotcha. See, you guys, I think I crossed 200 somewhere.
Brad, if I sounded like a typical Loginian, whatever, I would be, every second word would be profane. Thomas O'Sullivan reckons I sound a little bit Australian. I've been told I sound more British than Australian. There you go.
Or a little Irish, maybe.
Oh, well, sir, I don't know what would be making you say that at all.
Anyway, I think I'm going to let you guys go. I got to take the garbage out and get to bed. It's getting late here. So if I get to midnight, I turn to a pumpkin. So
thanks, Gary. It's getting to that point. I'm going to close it down shortly and go and help my brother finish assembling this bed before he wrecks it or kills himself.
Oh, he's assembling something? What, he get something from like
we had 2 beds delivered this morning, and my luck happens to be they were delivered while I was live streaming, so I can get out of it, but I better go and help him.
Now, is this an IKEA assembly or is it some other?
Not IKEA, but similar to.
Okay. Okay.
All right,
My family's Swedish carpenters, and every time I put together something from IKEA, my grandfather rolls over in his grave.
Yeah, I was going to say, so they're sadists, in other words.
I don't know. They make great stuff. I mean, I buy furniture that I do woodworking. That's how I chopped off my finger, but I can't buy the wood for what I can buy the furniture.
Well, Swedish stuff, IKEA, it looks great in the catalogue, and it looks great when it's finished. It's that intermediate stage between the two of them that drives you out of your mind. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with carpenters. Dennis, do doctors show off where they've cut off various limbs with a scalpel to prove what a good surgeon they are?
No, they don't.
It's a bit
but I noticed a few old contacts that I work with were missing fingers, and I was just like, whoa, wait a minute. I was working with this girl for 2 years before I realized that she had like 2 fingers missing in one hand.
Yeah, they go, I've been a carpenter for 43 years. And you go, is that supposed to be a recommendation?
Their work is bloody good.
I used to watch, what was his name, the Irish comedian, Dave Allen. He had the half a finger missing. He'd sit there, shocking.
I went to a physiotherapist for physiotherapy when they put this finger back on. And this guy had a missing thumb. And I said, how did you lose the thumb? He said, in an elevator accident. Oh. Thumb got caught in the door and he went to the next floor.
But the thumb didn't.
Yeah.
The thumb didn't go.
How much use did you get of your finger back when they reattached it again?
I'm pretty good. I can't make a fist, and I can't feel it, but
But he can still slap you like a little girl.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a thumb flyer now.
Well, I've always been a thumber, but I had the hand reconstruction. Well, I did it 3 times between October and December last year. And the worst one, I don't know if you can see it in that angle, in that camera. You see the scar along that finger there? That was the one that they said that I can't straighten the finger. Trying to get everything out of the way. I can't straighten the finger. That's as much. But I managed through a stint of hours and hours of rehab to get back. They said I was not going to play guitar again. I wasn't going to accept that. I got to make everybody's life miserable.
Yeah,
you make knives.
that one's permanently crooked.
Yep. That's why Art from Art Carlson, he's got that developmental disorder, and of course all his fingers are all crooked and so forth. And he points out, he goes, "Oh, I can see that." His fingers are off like that, and he's pointing at it. It's just as well that he's got a sense of humor about it.
Yeah. Well, he was a stand-up comic.
Yeah, and I've seen some of his stuff. He's quite funny.
Yeah. No, he's quite good. Mr. Carlson, I call him.
He's a good sport.
Yes, very good. Very good.
Right, go ahead.
A lot of the people that you see in these streams are either retired or disabled. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, well, 2 things. You've got to have a bit of time to follow this hobby, and again, you've got to have a bit of time on your hands to get into YouTubing.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm going to call it a night at that point. I've been going for 3 hours and 40 minutes or so.
I left 10 minutes ago, so
I would be up about 6 or 7 gigabytes of data I burnt through by the look of my meters. So that was all right, but at least it was a better quality, so I don't mind that. So everybody in the chat, thank you for joining. I'm not going to go through everybody there. And Dennis and you as well. Oh, God, I'm having a good day. Gary, thanks for dropping in. I'll catch up with you the next time round.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Okay. I'm going to go to bed too.
Don't do that. Yeah, you're crashing. All right, Thomas. Cheers, mate. Bye, Brad. And don't work too hard. Take care. It's good night from me, and it's good night from him.
Bye, everyone.